Welcome Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Drip. Robbie is live on Drip as well.
Dwip.
No, we are not live on Mastodon.
We're not live on Truth Social? All right.
I know, so, Jarrett, you got that. I'm handing that off to you. Go ahead and get us live on Truth Social as well. But welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. We have a very special night for you tonight. We have, drum roll please, the 2024 StanLee Awards. Yay. No.
It's almost March. It's almost March.
It is almost March. You're right. We finally got it together, but we did want to make a special exception to get Max on the podcast. So without further ado, my name is Isaac Edlin. I'm going to be your host tonight, but I mentioned that we have Max Mosier on with us tonight, who has not been on the podcast for quite a while. Max, how you feeling about being back on the Infinity Bros podcast?
I'm thankful. I'm just excited to be here. I look at this as a guest appearance now at this point, so I'm just here to enjoy, and hoping Robbie pulls some gems tonight when he's opening some packs while we're streaming. So that's all I'm hoping for.
There you go. Next up, he mentioned him. He is live on Drip right now doing card giveaways, Magic the Gathering. So if you guys want some free Drip, that's kind of a nice little free drip. There you go. Even though it's not like real drip, it's just like actual cards, which is even better than drip.
Free drip.
Robbie Sauter, who has become our social media mogul, is live on Drip, and he is live with us on the podcast right now. So welcome, Robbie.
I'm happy to be here. If anyone wants to jump into the Drip, I'm live on Drip. Someone please let me know if they can hear me on Drip, because I don't know. I'm happy to be here. If I rip packs over when Zane talks, you're welcome.
There you go. That's actually a great segue into the person that we will spend probably the least amount of time on is Zane Ellis.
That's fair. That's warranted. Yeah.
Moving on. Next up we have Jarrett Curtis on the Infinity Bros podcast. How are you doing, Jarrett?
Oh my gosh. Hello. I'm doing fantastic. I got plenty of caffeine pumping through my veins. I got to see Max's lovely face, so I'm ready to rock.
That's all you needed. You didn't even need that pot of coffee that you just made at 7:45 p.m. You just needed to see Max. That's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Me too. We're all happy to see Max back on the podcast. So, last but certainly not least, we have our good friend and dear Infinity Bro, Mark Jones. How are you doing, Mark?
Doing great. Just to let the audience know we're
looking fire tonight. May I
Thanks. Add? It's mostly fire. I do have to trim it up before elections happen. You guys don't know, you can go vote in your primary a week from Tuesday. So,
yeah, as a government official, Mark is all in on promoting voting. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually promote mail-in ballot. No need to go in anymore.
True. Good point. Mm-hmm. Vote from the comfort of your own home. That's even better. Yeah. Guys, we have a very special night for you tonight. We are going to be going through, finally, like Robbie said, our 2023 top TV shows, movies, Infinity Gems, and our Bob Kane Awards, which is the worst thing of 2023. Robbie came up with that last year, and I think it's a fantastic category that we're going to continue. That
it just fits.
So it does.
We always have negative things, and it's Bob Kane's just that guy.
Yep. Bob Kane, yeah, he was that guy. So, welcome everybody. We are so thankful that you guys have been supporting us through almost 5 years of the Infinity Bros podcast. In April, it will be 5 years, guys. Isn't that kind of wild?
April 2nd.
Is it really 5 years?
Podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
And not to mention the off-topic gamers as well. I mean, like, we had another year or two of that before the Infinity Bros. But that's ancient history that we don't have to.
So, like, 7 years of of the Infinity Bros.
7
Off Top
years
Gamers
of
Infinity Bros.
Giving bad
streaming.
opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, having bad opinions. Yeah, I actually started going and adding the old Off Topic Gamers streams to the Patreon, so you could like listen to them. So if you
I
guys
love
are
that.
interested, go back and listen to those because there are some awful takes on those Off Topic Gamer streams, guys. Some of those early streams were pretty wild, and
We had so much fun though.
we had so much fun. We were so distracted by playing Fortnite that I feel like we barely ever got stuff done. So yeah, it was a time for sure. But once again, we are so thankful to you guys through 5 years. This would be episode 190 of the Infinity Bros pod. It will be episode 190 of the Infinity Bros podcast. 5 years and almost 30,000 downloads, which is incredible and way more
awesome.
than I ever expected on this podcast. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of it and for supporting us through all of this. There's going to be a lot of changes coming up on the Infinity Bros, not like personnel wise necessarily, but Robbie's been just going ham on the Magic the Gathering content, and we're hoping to include some of that into the podcast as well. We have been with our Magic Monthly and other things and guests and things like that. But yeah, more stuff happening. Go check out Drip. Robbie put that link in the chat. If you guys check out that link, you can get some free credit toward buying stuff from Robbie on Drip. Robbie is basically making this his full-time job. So
that's the dream. But the Infinity Bros is where it all started. So all through the Infinity Bros, through the power of the Infinity Bros.
The power of the Infinity Bros.
Wow, the power.
Well, guys, what do you think? Should we get into the categories here?
Let's start roll.
What should we do first? TV or movies? Zane, you haven't spoken because I didn't let you. TV or movies?
I was gonna say, I just impatiently waiting my turn. Just having a blast over here. I don't know. My list goes movies first, so why not start with movies?
Okay. All right. Let's check out the movies then. We are going to be doing our top 6 movies of 2023. We're going to go bottom to top. So start with our 6s, going all the way to number 1. And we're going to be rotating as well through these first 2 categories. For our Infinity Gems, Bob Kane's, we'll probably just go through the list so we don't take up so much time. But it makes it a lot more dramatic if we tally all these up and come up with the number 1 official StanLee Award for the TV show and movie of 2023. So, Zane, since you chose, why don't you go ahead and go first with your number 6 2023 movie?
My number 6 movie for 2023 was actually the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
Yes.
I very much enjoyed that movie, way more than I thought I would, and so I thought it was a good spot to slot it in at number 6.
Very nice. I'm just going to go on based on my Discord screen. So, Jarrett, what was your number 6?
My number 6, and it actually, I forgot that this came out this summer, but it was the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Nice.
I thought it was a great family-friendly movie. I thought it was awesome for the kids. I didn't see a lot of movies this last year, but that one was a good one. I don't think it hit all the notes that I wanted it to, but it was solid.
So how many kids movies are going to be on your list this year, Jarrett?
Too many is the answer.
Because I feel like last year it was like half.
It was all kids.
Yeah. At number 1, we have Leo.
Currently. Yeah. But honestly, though, that's a solid one. So I agree with that one. Robbie, what was your number 6?
I know we said we're not doing honorable mentions, but my 2 honorable mentions were kids movies, Trolls Band Together, and the Mario movie. So just had to throw that out there.
There you go.
My number 6, and if this is on anyone else's list, I will be shocked. But my number 6 for the experience is Cocaine Bear.
Nice.
Cocaine Bear. Yeah, me, Zane, and Robert, an off-topic gamer, went to Cocaine Bear What was it? Was after the Army Navy game, Zane? Something like that.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. It was great.
Old of you to assume that's not Mark's number one.
I
The absolute
would be
audacity.
shocked if that's on anyone else's list, but I enjoyed that movie. Was fun.
That would have been an
it was
honorable
stupid
mention for
fun.
me.
Yeah, it was stupid fun. But it was the experience. And then we came home and we watched Megan, which Megan
Also
was
fun.
Megan was also fun, but not as memorable as Cocaine Bear.
All right, Cocaine Bear. That was one that I didn't see adding to the list, but here we are. So, Max, what was your number 6 movie?
I can promise you, Cocaine Bear is not on my list at any
Knew
point
it.
of this episode.
Lame.
No, I'm tagging along with Zane. I think Dungeons and Dragons really was it's the surprise on my list of the 6 movies. What I think I would add with what Zane would say though is really criminally underrated. I think it was poor. I know it did okay, but I think it could have done better. And I really am bummed that it didn't do as well as it could have. And I think it's got a great spot for a franchise long term. I hope they consider it, but this is a great film. And Sarah and I have been trying to find a way to watch it because I've been like, you have to watch this movie. It's got
On Paramount Plus.
I know it's just been timing. So just
Gotcha.
it's on her list. It's something I constantly am like, we have to watch this. Great movie. Awesome time. I'm with you, Zane.
It's one of the discs I got on one of the last 6 discs I got on Netflix. Netflix let me keep. So
They let you keep it?
Nice.
How many?
yeah,
did
they let me
you
keep like the last. Oh gosh, I think like 10 Blu-rays.
Dang!
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Dang.
pretty sweet.
And I knew they told you that they were gonna whatever. It was like a random number, so like I just front loaded a bunch and they just sent them to me. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
There you go. Mark, what was your number 6?
my number 6 is Leo, a good fun family movie that we had
Let's
in
go.
Jones' house.
If you want to,
So you guys
love that
movie?
on the podcast, so.
Dude, it was just
Guys,
it was great. It was great.
I
Watching with Kelly and Maggie.
I could not stand. I love Adam Sandler, but I could not stand him doing that voice for an entire movie.
We called it on the podcast,
Yeah.
and we talked about how
It was
me and
over
Isaac.
the top, big time.
The
we
entire
recorded that
movie, I
episode,
couldn't handle it.
Do you
And-
not-
and-
could not
do you
handle
ever
it.
watch 8 Crazy Nights? Like that's
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
the old guy
Old man
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the old man voice, which in little bits is fantastic, but for an entire movie, stabbed me in the eardrums. Like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it
was
works
fun.
it works in 8 Crazy Nights, but it doesn't work in that. I listened to that episode, Isaac and Jared. I totally agreed with your assessment on that.
Yeah, Leo, it has no business being a musical. Like, the only reason it's a musical is because
Right.
Adam Sandler said, let's make this a musical. Like, you could cut out all of the musical numbers and it would be
Sure.
basically the same movie. It's just,
Right.
It's just weird. But it was pretty good, though, like, despite all of that. Like, yeah, again, if you want to hear a review, Jarrett and I went in depth and reviewed Leo. So, there you go. My number 6 is also the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So
Ooh, getting some points.
another check mark for Super Mario Bros. On that. I'm keeping a current tab, so we'll keep rolling. But I will at the very end we'll get everything all tallied up and we'll reveal the the winner of the 2023. Is this? That's what I kept going back and forth on. Is this the 2023 StanLees because we're reviewing
Correct.
those?
Correct.
Or is this the 2024?
Yep. It's the previous years, yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, it's the
Academy
2023
Award that's next to
Because I
March
kept going
10th
back
is
and forth on my
2023 awards.
promo stuff, and I was like, what should I call this? I think I mostly did 2024, so sorry for those of you who are really disappointed in that.
What StanLees is this in our order? Is it the 5th one we've done?
I think
or the
because we
6th
did
or-
one as the off-topic gamers, so this has got to be our 5th one, I think.
So that's what we should just start calling it. Like next
True.
year, just promote it as the StanLees,
There you go.
6th annual StanLees.
Yeah,
and then
good point.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
All right, next year. That's what we're going to do. Okay, Zane, number 5. What was your number 5?
All right, number 5 for me was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Pretty just self-explanatory, solid, fun movie. Great way to end that franchise. So yeah, all around great movie.
When you walked into the barber yesterday, did you say, "Give me the Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy 3"? Like, how did that kind of go for you? Is it because of this movie? Like, what? Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, I actually just held up a picture of Chris Pratt from that movie, and he was like, "Say less."
Say less.
I got you, dog.
I got you.
I like how Zane said Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and we all just nodded like, "Yep, we get it. We know."
Yep.
Just,
No need. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't owe us an explanation.
Yeah, not at all.
Yep.
There you go. All right, Jarrett, number 5.
My number 5 was most of your guys' number 6, which is the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Got my boy here representing. I'm a huge D&D fan. I think I'm probably, especially out of us 6, I think I am the D&D guy.
No.
And I was kind of nervous going into this because I feel like there's been a lot of like remakes and redos and trying to capture on that nostalgia and falling flat. And so the fact that this did as well as it did and captured the feeling of like a fun one shot or a cool little D&D adventure kind of threw me for a loop. And even my wife, who is not nerdy at all, really enjoyed this. So yeah, love that movie.
Nice. Yeah, there you go. I'm surprised, honestly, with your passion for D&D, I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher. But
that should speak to the rest of the movies on this list.
True. Good point. Good point.
Interesting.
All right, Robbie, what was your number 5?
My number 5 is John Wick 4. John Wick 4. I'm surprised. I don't know if that's going to make anyone else's list because I thought it was going to be an early pick for some people, but John Wick 4 is just so much fun. The John Wick this franchise is just so good. So John Wick 4 sits at the number 5 on my list.
Robbie, we just finished John Wick 2. We've been working through those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Does it hold up? Like, am I hearing you say, like, as somebody who's just starting to get into it, it just keeps going, and does it get better, or does it stay the same? Like, kind of give me that.
Honestly, like Zane, yeah, I was gonna say it's an upward trajectory. Like, it would be very tough to like watch all 4 of those and then make a top 4 list. That would be hard.
I
don't think it sounds like an episode of the Infinity Bros podcast. We might.
Yeah.
To that.
I would say I'd be willing to discuss it because my opinion is 3 kind of dips, but not like bad dips. It was just like for me, and still good. But then 4, you're like, oh heck yeah, we're going off.
But that's the thing, because the trajectory was so high up. It was so high up, and then 3 was like a shelf almost.
Yeah, kind of like.
And then 4 went up. Yeah.
I love the continuous story. That's what's great about it.
Right.
Haven't you guys seen the Continental on Peacock? Because I haven't.
No,
my toes
I haven't watched it.
Oh, well, I guess that won't be on any of our lists for TV.
I guess not.
There we go.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right, Max. What's your number 5?
My number 5, I am gonna go with the Marvels. I think this movie is criminally underrated. I think I'm willing to say this is the most underrated Marvel movie ever. It's so good. It's so good the second, third, fourth time I've watched it. The first time, I will admit, I did walk away feeling like, I could have had more. And I just think because of how I thought Miss Marvel was so bad. Miss Marvel is the worst Marvel thing ever made, in my opinion. That I think that just carried over into my first showing. The Flerken scene at the end of that movie is outrageous. It's so good. It's hysterical. It's the hardest I've ever laughed at a Marvel movie. Yeah, the Marvels. I think it's great, and I hope they keep doing it. I think it's got one of the best post-credit scenes in all of Marvel so far, too. I think it's a great movie, and I think people just like to hate on it because of multiple different things. But yeah, great movie. The Marvels
definitely didn't deserve all the hate that it got, for sure. Yeah,
I would agree.
It on my list, but it's not a bad, like, people were initially saying like, oh man, this is like bottom tier Marvel movie, and it's like, oh no,
it's a mid-level Marvel movie.
This is fun. This is a good time. I don't understand why people are just dogging it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I would say it's a mid-level Marvel movie, which I think is a lot of Marvel movies land there.
That's
I think
fine.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad assessment of it. I think people just hated it because of other things going on in Marvel, not because of that movie.
Right. Yeah,
that's probably true.
That's fair. All right, Mark, what was your number 5?
My number 5 is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Another household favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Fun time.
Moving on.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for them to cross over with the Avengers 5 movies. So can't wait.
Yeah, the Illumination cinematic universe.
That Super Smash Bros. Movie is gonna slap.
Dude,
can't wait for Bowser to take over for the King in the Marvel universe.
It's gonna be wild.
Bowser King.
Yeah, Bowser King.
Bowser King.
Bowser King.
I love that.
All right, my number 5 is Oppenheimer. It was fantastic. I have it probably lower than a lot of your guys's, but I think that's same what was it Zane said, that like it just speaks to how I view the rest of the movies on this list. Like they're just phenomenal movies, but Oppenheimer was incredible. I wish I would have caught in theaters. I rented it and watched it at home later. I feel like that would have been a really good theater watch. So maybe I would have scored it higher if I had seen it in theaters. But
just so you know, I will never forgive you for mistaking me for Zane. Just remember that for the future.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep that in the back of my head. All right, Zane, you're up. I mean, Jarrett. I mean, Zane.
All right. Well, it was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
This is going well.
That's a change up for the Infinity Bros.
All right, number 4 for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. I very much enjoyed this movie more than I thought. It takes a little bit for the animation because I was like, I feel like they're just trying to copy like Into the Spider-Verse and stuff too much, but they very much made it enough of its own thing, and it works with what they did with that movie. And so yeah, I really like that movie.
There we go. Nice. All right, Jarrett, you're up next.
Yeah, number 4 for me was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. I was a little unsure about the animation at first. I felt like they were trying to do, Into the Spider-Verse thing. But once I got used to that, I felt like it was a really good movie. So,
thank you for that amazing input.
I hated that so much.
So thank you.
Wow. Now
that actually your number 4?
How can I not refer to you as Zane now? It's just.
I feel like we have to. I think we have 2 Zanes now.
I wish I had Zane's hair. Let's be honest.
Zane squared.
Right. No, let's actually keep a different tally though. That's number 2 of kids movies on Jarrett's list. Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
Robbie, number 4.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is in my number 4 spot. Such a good movie. Really hit home for a lot of people. It's very, very close to being the best Guardians movie. Number 1 still probably holds that spot for me personally, but I think it's up there. But yeah, all around great movie. Definitely deserves a spot on the top 6.
Agreed. All right, Max, number 4.
Oh my goodness, my thing closed right as I was opening it. Number 4 for me is Barbie. This is an experience. Barbie was it the perfect movie? Absolutely not. There are things that I would go back and change if I was writing it, but Barbie was so good, and it really had no business being that good. And yeah, I can't believe I'm putting it on my list. If I'm being honest, I just think it's better than Marvel's and D&D, and that's the only reason I have it at 4. I don't think it's been a great year for movies, and I haven't seen a ton. Also, I have seen more than what I think my list will look to people on the outside, but I just think Barbie was an experience. So yeah, Barbie, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed our review of it.
And the Barbie Oppenheimer just like social phenomenon was just
Barbenheimer.
Just I can't believe that Oppenheimer, a R-rated like history film, almost made $1 billion. Like that is just so wild. Like it benefited both films. I think that that both of them were on that same weekend, which beforehand you never would have said that, right? It's just wild. It's crazy.
It was an experience to go see both of those in the same weekend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, crazy. And I think that plays part of my decision to put it on my list.
All right, Mark, what was your number 4?
My number 4 was Knock at the Cabin, an M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out earlier this year.
That one was solid.
Right up my alley for.
What's his face? Dave Bautista and that one was really good. I knew he like could act, but that's the movie that I was like, oh dang, like this guy's good. My number 4 is TMNT Mutant Mayhem. And I wasn't sure about the animation when I started. No, but this movie was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. We went to it in theaters. My kids have been like, I never watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles growing up, but my kids have been getting into it so much that we went to this as a family, and it was an amazing experience. And you guys already mentioned that they differentiate their art style from the Spider-Verse movies. It really is their own thing, and wow, it is just it's like a beautiful work of art. Like, I love that it's so asymmetrical compared to like the Spider-Verse movies. Like the Spider-Verse is just a beautiful spectacle, but
it feels less clean. Yeah,
less clean. It's like grungy, but it's still beautiful in its own sense. So I absolutely loved that one. That was my number 4. All right, Zane, number 3.
Number 3 for me is Oppenheimer. Solid movie, just especially for like a historical piece like that. Just so informative and visually very, very stunning visually. So yeah, copy that, Jarrett.
I can't, because my number 3 is Across the Spider-Verse. I thought it was a beautiful movie. I thought it was a great follow-up to the original. This one did a lot for me, and I'm excited to see where they go from here. I actually watched this one with Max, and I was so mad walking out of that theater because I'm ready for the next one.
For real. Yeah, that was Empire Strikes Back. Like, I did not like Empire Strikes Back as a kid because of the ending. And that was that moment where you just cut off and you're like, wait, no, you can't end the movie there. You can't do that to me. But yeah, that was phenomenal. All right, Robbie, what is your number 3 movie of 2023?
My number 3 movie of 2023 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Outside of kids' movies that my children have decided to watch 1,000 times, that's probably the newest movie I've watched the most. I just think it's such a fun ride. You can put it on in any mood you're in. It's funny every single time. It's just a super enjoyable movie. And it surprised the heck out of me how good it was. So that is my number 3 movie of the year.
Very nice. All right, Max, what was yours?
Oh my gosh, I did it again. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Here's where I'm gonna fight. Here's where I'm gonna kind of push back on the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a top 5 Marvel movie of all time, and I think it's really, really good.
Whoa!
And
it could be argued that, yeah, for sure.
I think other people have it lower, and I think I'm looking at some other movies that are being listed. I just don't think James Gunn's going to make a better movie than this probably in a long time. I hope he does with DC. I'm really pulling for him to pull way better content than this. This movie hits in all.
Baby.
What'd you say?
Superman Legacy, baby.
Yeah, I would love it if Superman Legacy is better, right? I really, really want that. I just don't see it being possible. I think this movie hits it out of the park, and the expectations were significantly high in this film. I think it was high for all 3 of the movies I have in my top 3, and I think James Gunn crushed it. And I think, given the context of everything that happened with him, he deserves a higher recognition than he was getting. And I hope he gets something at the Oscars for this. I hope they throw him something, even if it's just like a side thing, like a little thing that doesn't like an Oscar that people don't think are that big. But yeah, I loved it. I think it's great. I cried every time I watched it. I don't know if I'll be able to not cry watching that movie. Very good movie. Very great film. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Mark, what was your number 3?
Also Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That was my 3rd.
Marking up.
And I don't think I cried as much as Max, but I do love it. I would say it's a top. I would probably put it in top 10. I don't know, top 5.
I was shocked though that you liked it so much, given the animal cruelty in it. I just knew that was going to be a trigger for you and your wife, and I was just curious. I remember when I watched the first time, wondering what you guys thought.
Yeah. Wasn't a fan. Kelly wasn't a fan of that, but it's a good heart wrenching movie.
Yeah, Agreed. My number 3 is hasn't been mentioned yet, so I'm thinking it might not be mentioned by anybody else. But Creed 3. I was
sleeper pick. It's a sleeper
growing
pick.
up,
Good,
huge fan of the
movie.
Rocky movies, and the Creed movies have been just phenomenal. Creed 3 is the best Creed movie. It's so stinking good, and it's everything you want in a sports like feel good movie. Michael B. Jordan just kills it, and he directed this one too. Like he just knocked this one out of the park. Everything.
What about, does anyone else knock it out of the park in that one? Does anyone else do any knocking out of the park or anything?
I don't think Dave Bautista was there in that movie.
He wasn't. Okay, he wasn't in that movie.
We won't name any names, but but yeah, it's a phenomenal movie, and like I said, the Creed movies were a great like spin-off or continuation of the Rocky movies, and this one is the best one of all of them. So I loved it. That was my number 3 pick. Going on to number 2.
For clarity too on that, Isaac, I loved that movie. I think I just can't put it above D&D because of Jonathan Majors' deer. Can't do it.
Yeah, I understand
so
that.
it would have made my list. And normally I'm not somebody that's like, oh, this thing's happening in the background.
The
But
sucky thing is,
I'm going to talk about him a little later.
Freaking good
So
actor too. Like it's
Creed 3 was great. Creed 3 was great, Isaac. That's a great pick.
Yep. All right. Anyways, Zane, number 2.
Number 2 for me is John Wick Chapter 4. Kind of like the reason stated before. The John Wick movies just they keep going up. Kind of hit that plateau at 3rd, but like 4 ends at such a high note that they could end the series. It'd be sweet if they found a way to continue it, but like the way it ended, you could end it right there. And all 4 of those movies are fantastic, and so I very much enjoyed John Wick Chapter 4. So Max, keep watching it,
dude. If John Wick did what Fast and Furious is doing, I'd be all in because those movies are good.
Hey, whoa. Slow down.
I said it. You heard me.
Hey, Christopher Nolan himself loves those movies, okay? I'm not going to have that bashing on them.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Christopher Nolan shoots a 3.
That's all we need. That's the only card I need.
That's it. That's all.
You're right. You're right, though. You're not wrong.
A filmmaker loves Fast and the Furious.
One single film.
Jared, what was your number 2?
My number 2 was Guardians 3. I think for all the reasons that have been stated before. Incredibly emotional film. I think this was James Gunn's magnum opus. I think he knocked it out of the park. I think he really showed people like why he deserves to be respected. And obviously, like with the success of the newest Suicide Squad, we knew that he was a powerhouse, but I think this is the best work he's done so far. And honestly, some of the best Marvel work anyone's done so far. Yeah, it's just an emotional roller coaster and just a great way to cap off that trilogy.
Agreed. Robbie, number 2.
Number 2 is Across the Spider-Verse. It's impossible to keep that movie off your list. I assume that'll be a lot of people's number 1 or number 2. The only negative, and I don't think I gave it a 6 because the only negative is I had no idea it was a 2-part movie.
There's so many people that went
completely caught off guard at the end, and I was so upset. I was like, "This is getting kind of long. I don't know if they have time to finish this." I was like, "Is there another hour of this
5-hour movie?"
That made me a little upset, but the movie itself is still fantastic.
Agreed. Max, number 2.
Oppenheimer. Yeah, I mean, we're all gonna say something. I'm assuming Robbie, that's his number 1. Yeah, Oppenheimer's dynamite, pun intended. I think it's really good. I really love what Christopher Nolan does in this. I heard some people kind of giving the feedback of, oh, there wasn't enough showing of the explosion itself outside of the tests they did. And I actually disagree. I think Nolan did a great job keeping that stuff ambiguous and making the audience wonder. Really great movie, so much fun. And yeah, I'm good for Christopher Nolan. Good on him. He loves Fast and the Furious. I love that too. So that's really cool about him.
Max's new favorite director. He loves
hard to fight. He's a good guy. He's Robbie's favorite director, and so it's hard to hear Robbie say that he doesn't like Fast and the Furious. I just wish he.
It's amazing that my favorite director loves Fast and Furious just like Max.
That was a tough moment really tough for the Robbie.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. I'm not gonna lie. That was a hard day for me.
Pill to swallow right there. All right, Mark, what was your number 2?
My number 2 is a Wes Anderson film called Asteroid City.
Oh,
really?
yeah.
I
Oh
did
my
not
gosh,
expect
Mark.
that to make an appearance. Here
No,
we
you
go.
liked it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was Wes Anderson's just right up my
He's-
alley for movies. and
really?
films, so
He's such a. It's such a hype that you have to
Leave it to
Wes
Mark
Anderson.
to have some just
called
wild movie that nobody else
art
has on
in
there.
film.
God, art.
He's hit or miss for me, Mark. He has some good ones. I can't go there with you on this one, but I respect that. I respect that play.
Good for you, man. My number 2 is
Thanks.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like Max, I bawled my way through this one. It was phenomenal. Like the perfect ending to a trilogy of pretty amazing movies. That's I don't know, like when you're comparing trilogies in the MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy's got to be in your top 2. Like if it's not, I think you probably are fooling yourself. I still really like the first one, so I don't know. It's like right on the same level for me, but it is in my top 10 MCU movies for sure. Like it's a phenomenal movie. The only thing that I think held me back from keeping it number 1, which I mean, when you guys hear my number 1, that's obvious, but I think there's so much interconnectivity in that one that like people watching it without a ton of knowledge of the MCU, they had to be so confused, like with Gamora from a different universe and like all of the stuff that the Guardians have been through. I mean, and it is like a third movie in a franchise, so like you got to expect some of that. But like that was the one thing, and to me it didn't bother me because obviously I love the Marvel movies and that franchise. But I thought back on it after watching it, and I was like, that movie probably made 0 sense to anybody that's not a Marvel person, but it was so stinking good. I cried a lot in that movie. A lot of tears. All right, number 1. What is your number 1 movie of 2023, Zane?
My number 1 is Across the Spider-Verse. Like it's just solid. Kind of just took the just kind of took that baton from the first one, just kept it going. Yeah, it was a bit of a shocker that it just ends in the middle, and you're like, wait a second, this is how it's gonna stop. But it's so dang good.
So good. Jarrett, number 1 movie.
My number 1 movie was Killers of the Flower Moon. I feel like if you know me, this is not shocking. This movie it's a very hard story to tell. And I think I was nervous going into it as to how it would be done. And you walk out of the theater feeling like wrong and twisted inside. It's like, and I think that's the reaction that you should have to stories like this. I think it was beautifully done, amazingly filmed, acted phenomenally, and I think this was the best 2023 had to offer.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that because you on multiple occasions kept saying that you had mixed feelings towards it, and I don't know if we ever actually got a full review out of you on it, but that is very interesting. I mean, obviously with your background and stuff like that, it totally makes sense, but yeah, the mixed reviews kind of threw me for a loop there. So
gotcha.
All right, Robbie, what was your number 1 movie of 2023?
Number 1 movie of 2023 was Oppenheimer. Didn't even have to be a question. I said when the movie came out that it might be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, which would top The Dark Knight, which is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, my favorite comic book movie. So it's kind of convoluted. I don't really know exactly which one I like more. The Dark Knight's easier to rewatch for me, I will say that. Oppenheimer, though, is incredible start to finish. The music and everything is so good. So that is easily my number 1 of the year.
There you go. Oppenheimer. Max, what was your number 1?
It's a weak year for film. I think other years a lot of these movies wouldn't have been on my list if I'm being honest, but this movie for sure would. And it's Across the Spider-Verse. Again, another movie that had really high expectations from me and I think everybody on this show. And not only did they do better than the first one, they far exceeded it. And I think have really, that third film, if it's bad or if it's mid, is going to be a problem. they've got to crush it. And I think the art in particular, that just hasn't been said about this one. The art and the detail they've had to go behind the scenes. I mean, the final scene, apparently it was just revealed like this last week. Originally, when they were showing that movie, it ended with, and spoiler alert for the movie, at this point if you haven't seen it, sorry, but it ended with Miles confronting the other Miles. It just ended there. There was no scene of gathering of these other Spider-Men and women. And that scene they had 6 weeks to make that whole scene. I think the work that these artists did is really, they deserve a ton more credit than they've gotten. I know they get a ton from the press, but yeah, disappointed that this film is.
What more do you want from them?
I want them to be.
Need a parade?
I've got your answer. They should be nominated for best film in the Oscars, and they're not, and that's a travesty. And I'll talk about that a little more later, but that is ridiculous.
Will never happen.
It should. It should on this one.
It should, but it'll just. Unfortunately, it'll never happen. I agree with you.
All right, Mark. What was your number one movie of 2023?
My number one movie should come as no surprise to any of you guys, and it's a little film called Iron Claw.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Iron Claw.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't see Iron Claw.
It's a story that tells the story of the Von Erich family. It's the simplest way to. It's like Von Erichs are a big 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s, and their family's just full of tragedy and trauma. So, and it's all around wrestling. So there it is.
That does make sense with you, Mark, but makes sense also that your top two movies are movies that didn't even make anybody else's lists. That's a Mark thing.
That's very.
How much is?
Don't want
how much
to
is
sound like I'm kicking the horse, but I watch so many movies. I'm
at least you're not Shane and just copying Jared's list.
Hey, Mark. How much of Zac Efron being shirtless played into the ranking of this movie?
Well, if we had more top ones, it would be even higher. So.
Oh.
If we had
fair enough.
More top ones. All right.
Fair enough.
And it's no surprise.
Almark, I'll give it to you too. If you're going to put Asteroid City on this one, then you go ahead and put that on number one.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You already. I think your number one is more understandable than your number two.
I take that back because he had Knock on the Cabin on there. That's 3 out of his 6 choices that didn't make anybody else's lists.
Yeah, okay.
I saw Knock at the Cabin.
Leo
wasn't either.
I'm glad Mark liked it. Good for Mark.
I can't believe
you
Leo
guys just want to be entertained, and I'm there to think. So you go.
You're cerebral. You're the top cerebral line. We get it. Wes Anderson, we get it. You don't get it.
Spider-Women.
Hey, Oppenheimer came out this year. Across the Spider-Verse came out this year. Barbie came out. The Iron Claw, number one this year.
There's no thinking in Oppenheimer, Robbie.
You want to be on my list.
Oh my gosh.
He lights a tobacco pipe and
puts his top hat on and
cracks out his copy of Old Man in the Sea.
Oh gosh. And mine is obviously no surprise. Mine is Across the Spider-Verse. I thought this is the best movie I've seen in multiple years, probably since the first Spider-Verse. I still think Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite, but this movie surpassed it visually. Absolutely. It is the most phenomenally visually animated. Sorry, that came out really weird. It is the most phenomenal animated movie I have ever seen in my life. It is so beautiful. It deserves a nomination just for the animation alone, in my opinion. And then you throw the incredible story in there as well. This is an incredible movie. And I think because Into the Spider-Verse has the completed story with the Miles character development, that still is my favorite movie of all time. But Across the Spider-Verse met and exceeded my very high expectations for this movie, which I think is pretty impressive of it. So, and with that, our number one movie that wins the StanLee Award for 2023 is Across the Spider-Verse by far.
Wow.
By over 10 points on our scoring system.
Okay.
Oppenheimer was number 2.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was number 2. Oppenheimer was 3.
Wow.
So those are the only ones that scored over 10 points.
It was a weird year for movies, and I feel like there was a lot of movies that were very specific and for niche audiences.
Right.
You had your big Oppenheimers, your Guardians, your Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so there you go. There you have it. The Infinity Bros Award Across the Spider-Verse as the Best Picture of 2023. All right, so next category we have TV shows. These are our only two solid ones because I feel like when we all became like dads, our gaming time minus Zane, gaming time just went out the window.
Yeah, it's gone.
Our gaming lists minus Zane's. Zane can probably complete a full gaming list, but all of us have barely played any new games. So
I said before we got on, I looked through the list of new games from 2023. I didn't play a single one.
Yeah.
Not a single game.
Not even Spider-Man? You didn't play Spider-Man?
Didn't play Spider-Man, no. Dude, I haven't even finished the Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh,
dude, I
remember
bro,
talking to you about that.
Dude, I don't play any video games anymore. I was talking to Jess about that. It's like I don't put any time into video games. Like, I don't know. It's interesting.
So
I wish I could, but I just don't have the draw anymore.
No need to do video games when you got Fortnite.
Is that not a video? Is that not a video?
Mark's.
Wait.
I mean, the last year we did the video games, like all of us had like 3 video games that were the current year, and the rest of them were just games that we had been playing. And Fortnite was on like everybody's like number 1 basically. So I think we were just like, we probably don't need to have that on there. But all right, guys, TV shows. Should we go opposite order on this one?
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
All right, here we go. TV shows for 2023. So we'll start with me then. Number 6, I've got For All Mankind, season 4. Little bit of a drop off from season 3, if I'm being honest, because last year it was my number 1 show. It was still a phenomenal season. I think there is some good TV on my list above this year, so that would be why. But I don't know, Mark, you'll have to comment on this one because I know you're probably the only one that's like up on it. But like Old Man Kinnaman just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. He was the weird part of that season for me. So I don't know. It was still phenomenal. Still a great season. Apple TV Plus rocks. You need to get on Apple TV Plus, especially since it has Monarch now. That's what I've been telling Zane this whole time. Like, Dane, you need to get on Monarch because that's like your jam.
Monarch is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's spoiler alert, it's not making my list, but Monarch is a ton of fun.
Yeah. So that is my number 6. Mark, what is your number 6?
Just to comment on your For All Mankind. Haven't watched the 4th season yet because I'm rewatching with Kelly, so we can catch up with her.
All right. Well, tell me what you think of it when you do.
I'm in the boat though that the series doesn't end until 2024, so this is a 24 movie because you wouldn't have been able to finish the series until you got into the new year.
I feel like if it started in 2024 or 3, it counts.
I think the same thing with
Invincible
Boba Fett.
Technically hasn't even come out with the part 2. So
right.
That might be on somebody's list. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Anyways, my number 6 is going to be on no one else's list. No surprise. But this is a Netflix show that my beautiful wife Kelly and I watch, and we just crap on it. There's 3 seasons of it, and the 3rd season came out this year. It's called Sweet Magnolias. It is like set in like modern times, like in the South, and there is just stuff that goes on in this town that's just like, this doesn't happen to real life. It very much felt like writers like, this must happen to real, like people in LA, Hollywood writers like, this must happen to people in the South. This is real life, and it's great. It's almost like watching The Room with you guys, with my beautiful wife Kelly. It's just chef's kiss. So Sweet Magnolias.
So
interesting.
It's just enjoyable
Is
to
it,
watch type of thing.
I was gonna say, like, is it bad? Like, because I've heard of Sweet Magnolias.
I think most people would say like it's done well, but there's just like the storyline, some of the characters who just like, this is just too goofy, and this got through. So,
see, that's how I feel about like Grey's Anatomy. whenever Jessica's watching Grey's Anatomy, I'm always like, oh, who's cheating with who this week? Because that happens every single day in real life. And there's always this big drama. Who's sleeping around? Like, that's how I feel about Grey's Anatomy and all those type of shows. It's like, just this stuff isn't as crazy as you guys make it out to be. But I digress.
Mark, how do you feel about Heart of Dixie? Just asking for the fans at home.
I've never heard of her.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Huh, interesting.
All right. Max, what was your number 6 TV show of 2023?
I got into golf this year, and so I took a shot at Full Swing, which tells some perspectives of real life golfers, and I really enjoyed it. They're absolutely ridiculous. They're all overly like it's kind of the opposite of Jarrett's number 1 pick for movies. It's just like the quantity of like weird just ego / money is it's like just a little too much. So it's almost like watching a soap opera. I'm gonna call it a guilty pleasure because I got into golf a little bit. I was horrified, I was impressed, and I learned that I'm really, really bad at golf, more than my regular golf game revealed to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go Full Swing at number 6 because I just think it deserves some type of mention on this without an honorable mention.
I really thought my man was gonna say like PGA Tour or something crazy like that.
Yeah, a sports channel.
It's on Netflix. It is a show. It counts as a show.
All right.
And it talks about the live and PGA stuff too. So like I think there is a storyline in it and it's interesting but honestly I was a little more like this is like ridiculous. But it was a good play.
Fair enough.
All right. Robbie, number 6.
I just want to piggyback on Max. That was actually interesting because that NASCAR show, I don't know if that came out this year or last year, but that NASCAR show, it's just like that, but NASCAR on Netflix.
What's
that
it
show
called?
is, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but that show
NASCAR
is
Netflix.
also NASCAR. Just type in NASCAR Netflix, it'll probably come up. But that
Full
show,
speed, NASCAR Full Speed.
Full Speed.
I'm sure
that
Zane's watched
show-
it 4 times.
That show and Quarterback are both like they're good. They're doing good sports stuff on Netflix. All right, back to my actual list.
Netflix must pay a lot of money to get those titles for those shows.
Probably, yeah. A lot of money. Probably. Are you mad that they're not sending you physical copies anymore? Is that why you want to take a shot at Netflix?
Yeah, we're burning them down. Infinity Road versus Netflix.
All right, my number 6 is What If? The What If series. I really love the What If series. It's so much fun to me. So, What If? Another solid season for them. I think it's hard. It's going to be hard for them to have a miss if they just follow what If has already established. So What If is my number 6.
All right, there you go. Jarrett, number 6.
Number 6 for me was Ahsoka. As a fan of Rebels, I really liked some of the stuff that they did here. I think it didn't hit as well as like some of the seasons of Mandalorian that I liked, but overall I thought it was a pretty good joyride. I enjoyed seeing some of these characters in live action form and just a really solid TV series.
I was actually really sad because I did not have Ahsoka or The Mandalorian season 3 because that actually came out in 2023, if you guys can believe it. Like, it seems like so long ago now. But both of those didn't make my list this year. I was really sad about that because The Mandalorian, I think season 1 for sure, was like unanimously our StanLee Award for whatever year that was that came out. Just, man, yes, it's sad that they were... And it does, a little part plays into it of the decent shows that came out this year, but another one is they just weren't as good as I was expecting them to be, so unfortunately. All right, Zane, what was your number 6?
My number 6, and Max can go along with this one for me, is season 2 of From. If you guys aren't watching From,
Mark
you got to be watching
Mark's watching From too.
Mark as well. From is so good. I have no idea what's happening in the show or what's going to be happening in the next season, but the season 2 of From, if you're not watching it, go watch it.
I did watch season 1. That show is fantastic. I have not watched season 2 yet, though.
I haven't gotten
very good
show
show
either, but
it's going to keep MGM alive. It's the only thing that's going to keep MGM alive.
It's literally the only thing worth paying for to have MGM.
Say, what else the heck is on MGM that you would pay for?
J-Buck. J-Buck is all about MGM.
All right, there you go. J-Buck.
So
All right,
you're paying
moving
the
on.
salary.
Number 5. My number 5 is Gen V, season 1. It's the boys spinoff, and I'm going to tell you guys, I was not really expecting much from the show. I mean, I love The Boys. I think The Boys is phenomenal, but I was like, why is this necessary or needed? And it blew me away. It's really good. If you guys are interested in The Boys at all, you need to watch Gen V, especially because I'm pretty sure The Boys season 4 is going to pick up where Gen V left off, if I remember hearing that correctly. So it's a must watch for Boys fans. So that is my number 5. Mark, what you got for number 5?
My number 5 is also Gen V.
Nice.
I
Great minds.
I didn't watch it right when it came out, so I was able to binge it with my beautiful wife Kelly. We watched it together, and she even claimed, this is her quote, better than all the seasons of The Boys, was her opinion of Gen V.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
she-
know. I don't know.
But Gen
about
V was
that.
Gen V's storyline
Well-
was right up her alley, so I don't know what it was, but
She
That's
just
a bold
loves
statement,
college.
Kelly.
Like that's why she just
she
couldn't get enough of
missed
the
that
college aspect
college.
of it.
Yeah.
You Crown boys won't get it, but I was a state school kid before, so I know
right.
what college
Oh
is.
yeah.
Right. There you go, Max. What was
But yeah,
your
Gen V, I'm all in.
number 5?
My number 5 is For All Mankind. I completely echo everything you said earlier about it, Isaac. I think the biggest problem with this is they're finally, this might be a spoiler to say, and I want people to watch this. Just certain characters aren't appearing as much as other characters have historically. What made the show really good was certain set of characters, and like the stakes are high, people pass away and move on, right? But I think I think one particular character in the previous season, them being shifted off, hurt this season a lot, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't the season finale that I'm used to at this show. Just what didn't hit. So it's usually a build up, and I'm usually like, wow, I can't believe that happened. I really, really like this show still, but it's the weakest season in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. I think like this show is the most that I've felt like I need to watch the next episode since I watched Lost. Like I would get done watching an episode and I'd be like, I can't stop watching. I need to watch the next episode. And this season still had maybe a tiny bit of a factor, but like now that, and kind of spoilery, so if you're really wanting to watch this, maybe skip ahead like 30 seconds, but like now that the technology has advanced so far and the stakes aren't quite as high as far as like life and death and stuff like that, it just, I don't know, it lost some of its like intensity. And it's more about the politics now, it seems like, and which is still like that part's still good, but it definitely isn't quite as intense as it has been the last seasons. But anyways,
You guys see what Jared was just drinking?
Yeah, and he didn't bring any for any of us.
Like, did you bring enough for the class?
Yeah.
Did you suck the juice out of the
You don't provide
Kool-Aid
yourself
jammer,
much.
bro? Did you suck the juice out of sucking the juice out of the top is my favorite.
I'm just saying.
Button board. But I was just watching him drink that. I'm so jealous that he was drinking a Kool-Aid jammer on stream.
The best part is I think this is actually my wife's.
You stole it from your kids.
snatched
Yeah,
it.
I was like, I don't have anything to drink,
Dude,
and I saw
eat
this. And I
so
was like,
many chicken nuggets these days. It is
absolutely. What a time to be alive.
all right. Robbie, number 5.
My number 5 is Ted Lasso, the final chapter, the final season. I know. I see Max shaking his head already. I know people were down on the last season. It's still Ted Lasso. It's still good old Ted. I liked it. I know there's some very weak episodes. I'll give it that, but I still felt the heart of that show, which is why I couldn't leave it off my list. So I had to put Ted Lasso season 3 season 3 or season 4, the final season, whatever one it was,
3, yep.
on the list. Season 3, yeah. Had to put it on the list.
Scott Higa recommended that show to us. I'm grateful.
Thank the Lord for Scott Higa.
There it is.
Without Scott, none of us would be on Ted Lasso. You're right. You're 100%
That's
right.
true.
Without Scott,
None of
there
us.
might not even be an Heroes podcast. Who knows?
Not anymore, probably not.
Jarrett, what was your number 5?
My number 5 was Echo. We just talked about it on the podcast. I think it was a
Twice,
phenomenal
actually.
series. Twice, yeah. I think it was well done. I wish there was a lot more that it's the same gripe we have with every Disney Plus show. I think they left a lot on the table, which is why it's not
Yeah.
higher on the list, but I really enjoyed it
Sadly.
for what it was.
I think we can all agree every Disney Plus Marvel show should at least be 20 episodes, an hour and a half each, and they would never get a complaint from us.
You're
Probably
absolutely
true.
right.
I mean, if they could even just
Get
push
less, for
35
sure.
minutes, I'd be all in. Just
Yeah,
skip more than 30 minutes.
I think this might be the only time we can say this, Jarrett, but like I firmly disagree on Echo. I think I think there's a different show written than what we got. I think
You
they
might be
changed
right.
something behind the scenes, and I think when I watched it, I was like, "Wow, this is nowhere near where I thought we were going with it."
Well, and the fact that it was 5 episodes released all at the same time, like there's just something different about it. And I think you might be right. Like they wrote a bunch more for it that they just were like, I don't know if
We talked
This
about
is
that too.
right.
Like especially with
Yeah.
Kingpin, I feel like they really rushed all that, and it seemed so sloppy that they were like, "Oh, surprise, he's
Yeah,
Bye.
Bob
it's
Iger just
tough.
wanted it off the table.
yeah."
I'm glad it was good for you. I just like, it was interesting that the beginning scenes in every episode were totally like tremendous. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to be there more than I wanted to be with Echo. Similar thing to Miss Marvel. No knock on the actress. The actress is great.
Yeah,
For sure.
disappointing show, but yeah, I mean, and Aleko Cox, I mean, she killed it. Like she did phenomenal, but yeah, just the show itself just didn't live up to.
It was tough sometimes. There were stretches too where the ASL just was like, oh, this is hard for me. But I understand why they're doing it. I didn't think it would be as big of a factor for me as it was when I watched it. So
Max just showing his ableism over here, I guess.
Wow.
I can hear. Here I
I
am.
can hear and talk
And talk. You can do both.
and see.
All right, Zane, number 5.
Number 5 for me is season 3 of The Mandalorian. Like, not as good as like what we had from season 1, but it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and just the dynamic they had of Din and Bo-Katan. Like, I love that. So
They had a lot of
Season
good
3 of
stuff
Mandalorian.
in that season, yeah.
Yep, I really enjoyed that.
For sure. All right, moving on to my numbers are mixed up on here, but it's our number 4s, correct? No, is it 4s? Yeah, 4.
Number 4.
Number 4. My number 4 is Loki, season 2. This season was better than the original season of Loki. Elevated the show quite a bit, in my opinion. I think this was probably the best season of Marvel television, maybe? I should say Marvel Disney Plus television, because nothing will ever touch Daredevil Netflix, but it was really stinking good. So yeah, this one is number 4 on my list. Tom Hiddleston, Wales. I absolutely love Owen Wilson as Mobius. Like, great cast. Ki Huan Koi was like a perfect addition. Those guys could be the new Marvel trilogy for all I care. Like, that'd be phenomenal. So there you go. That's my number 4. Mark, what was yours?
My number 4 was the same. What Zane's pick was for his 5 was Mandalorian season 3. Kind of, going back, like, is this the end that we see them? Is it the end of just the Mandalorian season? What other stories can he tell? Is this some kind of on the main storyline? It's still gonna be retconned, so I think Mandalorian did a good job, kind of just leaving it open ended. So all in on Star Wars, though. Yeah, so let's see where that brings us.
Yeah, interesting. Max, what was your number 4?
Last of Us. I loved this. I really enjoyed this show. I think it's great. Where movies struggled this year, TV did not, except for one that I'll talk about later. But Last of Us was great, and I'm super thrilled, and I can't wait for the next season. And I'm actually thankful I never played the game. I really am thankful. I think that limited my expectations. I only really had one gripe with the whole show, and I think it's a great show. Really, really great show.
What was it great?
My grade was the second. Was it second or third episode, Zane? Which one?
Yeah, the Frank episode. I think that was 3.
Yeah, Frank episode was too much.
Yeah.
You know what? I know you're setting me up
I
there,
agree.
but it's not a big deal. I'll say it. I'm very vocal about it.
Like, and I at the time I thought that episode was
expect it.
phenomenal. I think it did divert the season more than it should have. Like they totally took that whole episode to focus on that relationship, and it really just didn't need to happen. It just, I don't know, it threw off the timing of the season, I think. But overall, holy moly, that show was so stinking good.
Yeah, really good show. Really loved it.
Robbie, what was your number 4? I know you're in the middle of a pack opening.
No, you're good. My number 4
He's dripping
is
right now.
I'm dripping right now. My number 4 was Loki. Loki season 2. I know all the stuff with Jonathan Majors is whatever. It doesn't take away from how good Loki has been for Disney Plus. It shows what we want from Disney Plus, because obviously they've been kind of failing us with a lot of episodes there. So, but yeah, Loki is still the cream of the crop on Disney Plus.
Jarrett, what was your number 4?
Number 4 was a series that I got into this year because of a recommendation from Max, which was From. Season 2 was phenomenal. This has been a ride from start to finish. I'm excited to see where they go from here, and I was genuinely surprised at how well written and how well acted this was. That like this is one of the few releases that like is killing me that it hasn't come out with the new season yet, because I need to know what happens next.
Are we at the point with From 2, everybody who's watched it, that we kind of want them to leave MGM and they get bought by Netflix or Amazon or Apple?
Yeah.
Somebody that just has a ton of money and just says
Literally
they can bankroll a big season.
Show is MGM Plus or whatever they have now.
Right.
I'm kind of pulling for Amazon or Apple to get them.
Yeah.
I think they would
Get your
just take
7-day
it to the
free
next
trial
level.
on Amazon, Isaac, and just binge it all in a week.
Yeah, you can get it done in 1 week on Amazon,
Yeah.
on Apple.
Because
Right.
it's literally the only show on that you need to watch. So like, just get it a free trial, burn through it. That's all you need to do.
I mean, I've heard glowing reviews from you guys for like the last 2 years, so I feel like I probably need
It's
to
phenomenal.
And spoiler alert, we're not done.
Yeah.
I'm not
There's
done.
more.
There's more.
I'm not done.
All right, Zane, number 4.
My number 4 is also The Last of Us. Very well done, very heavy, and it's like I played through the game, so granted it's different perspective too, but so well done for what you had from the game. But yeah, especially towards you get to the end, it goes through that the emotional rides that you still hit from playing the game. But yeah, like I said, I echo with Max on that gripe of that 3rd episode. I think that became too much of the focus. Just kind of sidetrack the story a bit, but yeah, all in all, like if you don't want to play the game, at least watch the show, because the show does a very good job of capturing what the game does.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to number 3. My number 3 is Ted Lasso, season 3. I think this is definitely the weakest season of Ted Lasso, and if I didn't watch the last 3 episodes of this season, it wouldn't be on my list either, because the last 3 episodes really make a comeback for this season in my mind. I
Absolutely.
really enjoyed the last few episodes, and they wrapped up the show about as well as I could expect coming from the beginning of season 3. So I wouldn't even say slightly disappointed, but it didn't live up to my expectations of seasons 1 and 2. But yeah, it was still phenomenal. Wrapped up a great show that, like, Ted Lasso's like top 3 show of all time for me. Because the season wasn't as strong, it probably is number 3 in my like favorite shows of all time. Like, it could have been number 1 if this was a phenomenal season, which, I mean, it was great, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. So Ted Lasso season 3 is my number 3. Mark, what was yours?
My number 3 was Star Wars Rebels season 5. I mean, Ahsoka. Oopsies. Yeah, just another. Like, where were these writers when they made the sequel trilogy? Like, were they just like too timid to give, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and the guys like the keys to the car and be like, "You guys got us. Sail us away." But Soka just knocked it out of the park for me. So that's my number 3.
It's good stuff. Max, what was your number 3?
My number 3, I don't know if it's going to be said by anybody else, but this is Jury Duty. It's from creators Lee Eisenberg and G. Stupnitsky.
Right?
Jay Marsden's in it. This is an unbelievable show. What they're able to accomplish and pull off on this guy, but also what makes this, it's a good show with that premise. What makes it an amazing show is the guy they chose and how the whole way they're setting him up essentially to make, he gets so many opportunities to make a bad choice and he consistently makes the right choice. And it's so good. Such a good show. I strongly recommend it for anybody. Yeah, I really appreciated the show. It's Ronald Gladden or Gladen, I forget it. It was such a while ago that I've watched it, but he's great, and they do some weird, wacky things in this. But it holds up. Great show, Jury Duty. Awesome watch.
Nice. Robbie, what was your number 3?
Number 3 is Gen V. Such a good installment to the boys universe. And I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure if it was going to be nearly as good as the boys, which I think a lot of people might have gone into it feeling that. But man, it holds up. The boys universe has some good stuff going. So that's my number 3 for sure. I just enjoy that world so freaking much. It's what DC should have just gone all in on the dark stuff right away and just done what Gen V and the boys is doing, but they didn't, and that's why we're restarting every 10 years.
And the boys is proving they could have been funny. Like they could have said R-rated humor.
You can be funny,
on the
you can be
opposite
serious,
of Marvel,
you can have horror, like yeah, you can do it all.
Each of them could have done their own thing and they wouldn't have hurt each other.
It's amazing what good writing can do. So yeah, incredible. Gen V.
Yeah, and good writing that is even better than the original writing, which I feel like is almost unheard of, and especially in the superhero like genre. Like, man, I've read a few single issues of the Boys comic book, and it ain't
good.
Rough. It is not good. So, and I can't speak to the whole series because I haven't read the whole thing, but the few issues that I read was enough. It wasn't good. So, Jarrett, what was your number 3?
My number 3 was Reservation Dogs. This is a series that I've continued to enjoy. I feel like the first season is still better, but it continues to provide a lot of joy to me and my family. I think the storyline is getting more serious and a little more real with some of the stuff that the kids have to deal with. So I continue to enjoy this probably way more than most people do, but it's a phenomenal series.
All right. Zane closes off with your number 3.
My number 3 is actually Twisted Metal. I was not expecting to enjoy the show as much as I did, but I had a wild fun time watching it, and I can't wait for season 2.
Dude, I love that show too. It didn't make my list, but like it was way more fun than I expected it to be. It was a blast.
A real fun ride, some might say.
Yeah, you could say that. Moving on to number 2. My number 2 is, sorry, I lost my notes here. My number 2 is The Last of Us. I just thought that show was phenomenal. And I played the first game, and how they were able to keep the same storyline and still do an incredible job of the storytelling. And I mean, they stole some cinematography straight out of the game. Like it was really cool how they adapted the game into just a phenomenal TV show. And obviously you have to have some kind of differences just filmmaking wise, but it translated really well, I thought. So it was a phenomenal show. That is my number 2. Mark, what was yours?
Mine is also Last of Us. having also not played the game but knew enough to be dangerous what was going on. I thought it was great. Another thing where it's just like I wish there was more episodes. Like, but I think that's what they did good is they didn't fill it with a bunch of extra stuff. I think that's what made the series good in my opinion. So
yeah. Max, what was your number 2?
Loki. I think the end of Loki really is just tremendous. And Robbie, you said this earlier. There's like good writing can save you. And I think we'll talk about Marvel, I'm sure, as we go too. But like, just Marvel has had such a weird season this last 3 or 4 years, and Loki just like makes me believe that it's back. And so that ending really made me believe it's back. I know, and I'll talk about Majors a little bit later in my Bob Kane's, but like, I really thought they crushed it. It was a really tough assignment with that show, and I was curious how they'd end it. And I think with Quantum Mania sucking, that was a really tough show, and they really tremendous show.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. And now, like, looking back on it too, like when Loki was going on, we didn't know the full picture of like what was going to happen with Jonathan Majors, and then they almost ended the show openly so that they didn't need to continue with him. Like that was the whole buzz, is like, oh, are they writing him out of this? And
no, it was a perfectly neutral ending, but right. Still something that was like, whoa, that was crazy. Exactly. And that to me was impressive, that Majors could get plugged right back in if they want. But also he doesn't have to. They've essentially written him out too. So I think that was really good.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job with that. Robbie, what was your number 2?
My number 2, before I say that, if I mess up and I like start talking to the drip stream while we're doing our normal stream, I apologize immensely. Did I mess that up a few minutes ago? No? Okay. I saw that the green was on. I was like, wait.
No, I just saw you were literally showing a card to the thing, and so I mentioned it. But no,
I was so worried that I did that. Okay, good.
You're good.
My number 2 set me on a very long voyage. It made me set sail, some might say. My number 2 is One Piece. The One Piece show from Netflix was incredible. I loved it so much that I started watching the anime, which is it's a big investment to even start the anime because it's 1,000 or 1,100 plus episodes. Wild. But I thought the anime was, or the live action on Netflix was so well done that I was like, if this is as good as the live action can be, then the anime must be incredible. And the anime has so far, through 269 episodes, it is incredible. So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Netflix One Piece, and then you're gonna go spend a whole lot of time watching the One Piece show.
All right, Max has left the building, so now is our time to say something bad about Max. All right, Zane, go. Say something bad about
anime.
I got nothing.
He's got nothing. Okay.
No.
Jarrett, say something bad about Max. Quick, before he comes.
He's not. He doesn't live in Montana. It's the only bad thing I can say about him.
Wow. That's a plus. My bye.
Robbie, say something.
Oh wait, I got one.
Quick. He's going.
I got one.
Oh,
he doesn't spread democracy with the boys.
Oh,
gas.
Facts. Facts.
It's not even a free game, and he's still saying no.
True. Yeah,
he really pay for
doesn't like free game. I mean, Jarrett, what was your number 3?
Oh yeah, your number 3, Jarrett.
My number 3 was.
Number 2? I think
it is number 2.
Whatever we are.
My number 2 is Loki. Obviously, like you guys have said, most of the stuff that needs to be said. I do got to give a shout out though, because if you would have asked me a few years ago what I thought of Owen Wilson, I would have never said like,
wow,
an absolute powerhouse of an emotional actor, like some of the best portray. Like, dude, absolutely killed it. And I'm not memeing here. Like the guy did phenomenal, and I think his portrayal of Morbius really. Mobius really.
That's the sequel we need. Owen Wilson, Morbius. Let's go. Oh my god!
You picked the blue pill or the red pill? Morbid. Just killed it. Absolutely killed it.
All right, Zane, number 2.
All right, my number 2 is season 2 of The Bear. If you guys haven't been watching
Let's
The Bear,
go.
fantastic show. And the biggest highlight for season 2 for me is watching the character growth of Richie. That alone is almost what sells season 2 so much. And also now he's gonna be our Ben Grimm. He's our thing.
Yeah,
so
let's go. That's gonna be awesome.
Go watch that.
Phenomenal.
He's that thing.
He's the thing. I mean, we're moving right in on to number 1 TV show of 2023. My number 1 show is The Bear. I loved that show. It is so stinking good. And I actually had not watched any of it up until this year. So I binged all 3 seasons this year. Holy moly, guys. That show is so good. And I cannot wait for another season of it. So, yeah, that's my number 1 show of 2023. Mark, what is yours?
Have you watched it with? I'm sorry. What have you watched it with Holly?
She watched a few episodes with me. She didn't watch the whole show with me, but she like I wanted her to watch episodes with me because obviously she went to culinary school. She's
I was curious on her
life. And she says it's like very accurate to what a professional kitchen is like. Just people yelling at each other, just like high stress levels. You know that that what is it? The 5 fishes or 7 fishes episode or whatever, the family episode they had. That's like the most anxious I think I've ever felt watching a TV show in my whole life. That like as a Midwestern Minnesotan who does not like conflict, walking into that family gathering would have been my nightmare. I would have probably just turned around and walked right out of there, honestly. It was, oh my gosh, that was just crazy. But yeah, that show is phenomenal. Can't wait for more. Continue. Sorry, Mark. I was just
that's the insight I wanted. There it is.
There you go.
That's art right there.
Yeah.
My number 1 is Loki season 2. We got basically Loki turned into like the most powerful being in the universe, and it's all probably part of Kang's plan or someone's plan to keep him out.
Somebody's plan
of his, dealings. And it's also sad that like he goes through all this pain to like rectify the the multiverse in a sense, and Sylvie just gets off scot-free with no remorse towards anything. That's what really irked me. But hopefully Loki gets redeemed. Hopefully Loki and Thor meet up again and they both can be happy, but that's probably not what's going to happen. But Loki season 2, chef's kiss. So
they're bringing Sylvie back, right? Like I don't think she's done yet. I don't think her story's done being told.
Mark, of a character not to bring back at some point.
Yeah, but
should they bring her back? Should they bring her back just to kill Jonathan Majors again? And it just sticks.
Yeah, baby. Yep, let's do it.
Or like that time it sticks. It all works somehow.
All in. Have her nuke the Council of Kangs.
Yeah, and it just. He said, "Oh, well, that was easy. It just no other consequences. He's just gone."
What were you saying, Mark?
Like kind of like in What If, the first season, where they get Doctor Strange, like puts Zoloff and the other guy.
Oh yeah.
Stuck in that like never ending trap. It's like that with Sylvie and Kang.
Destined to do this forever. All right, Max, what was your number 1 show of 2023?
It's so good. Can't wait. I'm on the edge of my seat. I do need to watch The Bear. I apologize for not having this even on my list. It's on my list to go watch, and everybody tells me I should check it out. From is just Harold Perrineau's best work. I think this is the opportunity for the writers because there's a lot of writers and directors. Jack Bender as a director, who they all did Lost. I think this is their chance to get some things right that they got wrong with Lost. I've kind of said that from day one with this show. So as a huge Lost fan, I'm really pulling for From to just nail it. The season 2 season finale is one of the best season finales ever in all of television. And I'm not being hyperbolic with that. I think it's so crazy. In that final scene, I'm still like, what on earth is going to happen? So good. It is a true horror show too. And for me, people who know me, the reason I think you should watch From is I don't like horror. It's not my genre. And From still somehow makes it work for me. So awesome show. Cannot tout it.
That was wild when go piggybacking off what Max just said. He recommended this to me and told me basically that like it's a horror show. I'm like, this must be good if you're recommending it because you hate horror movies, and shows. So
I mean, the first scene in the first
And it's
episode is the little
yeah.
girl. Yeah.
And it's not like a light like
Nope,
horror. Like
it's
it's
not.
legit scary every single episode.
It's good.
Interesting.
Zane and I mean, every time when that season finale came out, Zane, we had a good text chain over that. There was a lot of conversation around that.
A lot of conversation. So good.
Now I have to watch it. I mean, I was gonna watch it before, but now I gotta.
The first season was free on Prime for a while. I don't know if it still is, but that's where I watched it.
Check it out. Robbie, you're up. Number 1.
Number 1 is The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal owned the universe for a good 2 months of 2023, and all thanks to The Last of Us and his Five Guys video that we actually had that actually did really well. Yeah. So, we're going to go. The Last of Us is incredible. I can't wait for season 2. I haven't played the second game, but I have had it spoiled, so I'm not looking forward to that if that's the way they want to go with it. Minor spoilers if you have any clue what I'm talking about, but yeah, The Last of Us season 1 is my number 1 show of the year.
What if they just like pulled the rug out from everybody and just went a totally different direction with season
2?
That's my question.
Dude,
do you think they'll do that?
No, because I think that would piss off more people. I think they're going to stick with what the games are doing.
Oh, man.
They're going to have to adapt because they're going to get ahead of the games. So
these studios like making money, and having Pedro Pascal in your show for longevity, makes you more money.
That's
true. Yeah, you're right.
Spoilers.
Money's more important than fanfare. If what we've learned,
isn't it wild though that like you can have Pedro Pascal on your show and like put a helmet on him and he never takes it off and the show still does well. Like you can leave your, you can leave to set anymore. No. I'm getting into something else here. You can leave your helmet on. Like you can just leave your helmet on. Like you didn't have to take your helmet off. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have heard of this other show called Halo, where the guy does not leave his helmet on. Where the main character's main thing is to keep his.
Is that what you're saying?
I'll quit this podcast right now.
Yeah, but how do you know it's Pablo Schreiber playing Master Chief if he doesn't take his helmet off?
I didn't know who that was before Halo came out, and I still don't know who that is.
You don't know that's Pedro Pascal under there in Mandalorian,
and it doesn't matter. It's crazy.
Of the time, it's not him. So
it could have been.
There you go.
It could have been Jarrett the whole time.
So yeah, just throwing that out there. The Last of Us, incredible. Pedro Pascal, incredible.
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 3, not as incredible.
All right.
Because he had his helmet off.
Thank you for all that wonderful insight, Robbie. Jared,
you're welcome.
What was your number 1?
I love this unhinged rant that we sent, this journey that we sent Robbie on. My number 1 was also The Bear. I think I was the one that introduced this to most of you guys. I love this series so much.
No, I'm pretty sure that was Scott.
It was probably Scott.
Probably Scott.
I'm pretty sure it was Scott.
This series is phenomenal. I think the seasons just continue to get better. I really did not expect the side stories that we got. You really came to like know and love all the side characters in this one, which was phenomenal and hard to do, really hard to pull off. That their stories matter as much, if not more, than the main character. I will say it did not help my man crush on Will Poulter to watch him absolutely kill it in the kitchen. So yeah, just a phenomenal season.
Yeah. All right, Zane, it's up to you. There's actually, before we say anything, there's actually a tie for first place right now. So we'll see if Zane gets to break that tie. What is your number 1 show of 2023, Zane?
I doubt it's going to break that tie. But my number 1 is Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka
at all.
I was going to say, it's not going to break the tie. No, my number 1 was Ahsoka, simply because it was what I imagined, or it captures so well what we had from Rebels, bring it to live action. And I thought it did such a good job of that, and it met my expectations of what I wanted to see from that show. Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are fantastic. R.I.P. Ray Stevenson. I wish we could have gotten more from that character. But yeah, just that show, it met my expectations, and that's why it's number 1 for me.
Literally, they should cast Liev Schreiber to redo his role because they have similar acting styles, and it could they could make it work.
I'd be down.
That's my opinion.
like his story was so focused and important to that season that I would be very surprised if they didn't recast him. So yeah, I love that character too. Just so sad. But yeah, all right. Well then, we have a tie for the 2023 StanLee Award for Best TV Show between Loki and The Last of Us. Loki Season 2 and The Last of Us. So, all right. Do we break this tie or do we just leave it at that? Do we just say there's a tie?
Didn't we have a tie last year? What did we do?
I don't remember. Should we have anybody that's...
We gotta know where to
leave them tied.
We gotta know where to ship the trophies.
Yeah. This group's been good at giving ties to champions, so...
That's a fantasy football joke.
Phenomenal.
That's awesome.
That's a deep.
No one gets that but us.
So
only 5 of us.
Last of Us tied for number 1. The Bear is 5 points behind both of those for technically number 3, I guess. And yeah, none of the other shows are close. So that's it for our Infinity Bros TV show of 2023. The StanLee Award goes to The Last of Us and Loki. So they're both standing on the podium together, like fighting over the trophy right now. So that's our TV shows. Let us know what you guys think, what your favorite TV shows were of 2023 in the comments. We've got 2 other categories to go here, but first of all, Robbie, you got any cool drip things that you're doing right now?
Just doing a drip giveaway on polls. So how polls work is it's a random assortment of cards. There's a few big hitters in there, like $20 to $30 of hits. So that's a giveaway there. If you hit under, you get 2 pulls. If you hit even, you get an extra free pull. Also have like sales going on, but this is just kind of in the background chilling if anyone's looking to get some cards.
What's your best card in the poll pile right now?
Right now it's Old Gnawbone. Old Gnawbone would be the best poll if you were to
get you a big treasure dragon.
And I advertised as well, since we're at the halfway point, probably more the 2/3 point. Those are the big categories, but I've got some merch to give away as well. We've got
I also do have one other big giveaway I have planned too. So
on Drip
on Drip, yeah. You want me to plug that?
Sure, go for it, man.
So the big giveaway is not this playmat, but the playmat underneath it, which is the same playmat without the sparkles. So that's going to be, once we start our last category, that'll go on, that'll be on the giveaway. So
yeah, okay. So once we start our last category, I'll make sure to leave some space for the start of that giveaway. You will
gotta stick around
to that link that I just put in chat and go check out Robbie on Drip. And then we also have a merch giveaway for an Infinity Bros baseball cap. Got a couple extra ones here, so whoever comments, let's see, we gotta come up with some kind of comment in the chat that people can do. Let's say, what love song would you sing Zane to serenade him? Love song to serenade Zane in the chat to win a Infinity Bros baseball cap. I'll announce that one at the very end. Regan already.
It's the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's the song you got to sing to him.
Edmund Fitzgerald. Oh wow,
yes.
That actually might get Zane going.
Yes, little Gordon Lightfoot. Absolutely, sign me up.
That might do it. Regan Dvorak already put something in chat. He said, "What is love?" So, what do you think, Zane?
Baby, don't hurt me.
I mean, that's a solid one.
He was wondering what kind of gum Max was chewing.
Yes, also that. What kind of gum, Max?
Wait, should we all guess?
We got the Ice Cube Spearmint Icebreakers tonight.
Oh, those are good. Very nice. We like those. Right. We like that. We like that.
Good
we like those. We take those.
Smacking is really doing it for me.
All right, guys. 2 more categories left. Number 1 is Infinity Gems. So we came up with this category because of the problems that we had mentioned earlier with us having families and not being able to game very much. Infinity Gems is literally a category for anything that you liked in 2023 that is not a TV show or a movie.
Can I make one suggestion? Because we did this last year, and it did not work out well.
Okay.
We ended on Bob Kane's last year, and it killed the mood. So
Okay, do we want to do Bob Kane's right
end on
now?
Infinity Gems. Yeah.
Okay, good call. Good call.
Bob Kane.
All right.
And also,
that's
are we
fair.
going to read them all now? Because
we're not going to go person by person.
Every year we get to this point, we're like, oh, we gotta hurry up. Zane, shut up. Just tell us all 6 of you.
No. Yeah. So we're gonna give like each Infinity Bro is gonna give their whole list in these last 2 categories. So Bob Kane's. So this is the category of the things that sucked in 2023 that we did not like.
Is there a maximum number on this?
I mean, I would say 6 because that's kind of our thing.
Robbie's just got a list of like
lists of
80
6.
things.
I'll just put all
Robbie's
these into one file
grinds
here.
my gears.
He's got a note in his phone.
How many
that he
movies
just
did
writes
DC
something
release
on.
this year? Okay.
He's like, Chapter 1, Jared's bald spot. Chapter 2.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
Let me scroll to the bottom.
specific
Leathernator
cartoon.
says One Kiss by Dua Lipa. So there you go. Zane.
I don't know how that song goes. I don't know any Dua
I
Lipa.
was-
I would have to hear that song.
Jared, sing it for us.
She's down.
Imagine pretending like you don't know international pop star Dua Lipa. Couldn't be me.
Yep.
Some people in this group didn't know who Ice Spice was, so it is what
I didn't know who this was. She was just hanging out with Taylor Swift. Does she do music? What is
She's a Spice
she
Girl.
does stuff.
You're asking the wrong crowd, dog.
that was not a Spice Girl.
She's not a Spice Girl.
Ice Spice is not a Spice Girl. I know
She
that.
literally has spice in her name. She's
Yeah.
a Spice Girl.
They grow up.
Grow up.
I-
Grow up.
So no one still
And what was her sister?
still no one is going to answer who Ice Spice is and what she does. I don't get it. I don't know.
That part's
Again,
not
you're
important.
asking the wrong crowd.
It's need to know apparently, I guess. At this
I
point.
got attacked when I said I don't know who that is. She's shaking hands with Jason Kelsey, and I was jealous.
This will be
Yeah.
my bad thing for 2024. Robbie doesn't know who Ice Spice is. Spoiler for next year.
All right.
I have
a
guess
whole
Mark's
year to
already
learn.
starting off his list. So go ahead, Mark, with your Bob Kane,
Okay.
since that was your honorable mention, I'm
I-
assuming. Or is that number 1?
No, for
I
next
don't
year.
know.
No, that was my next year's.
Oh, for next year's. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That did happen in 2024. You're right.
Okay, well I guess I'll start. My Bob Kanes are in this order. Very niche complaint for number 6. The third, the last in the trilogy of the Magic Mike movies, Last Dance. Awful. Just purely awful.
All right.
Awful
I was
movie. What a
really
waste.
concerned. I wasn't sure where that was going to land for you, so I'm happy you cleared that up.
Just skip it in the trilogy. It's a skippable movie.
Thank you so
It was
much
not
for this
good to
information,
know.
Mark.
So-
This really
so-
caps
so
my
really needed
2024.
that
watch
assessment
number
by
one,
2024
Magic
well.
Mike,
You do a legit
Triple
first
XL,
Magic
or
Mike,
whatever it's called.
So watch number
Second
1 and number
one,
2.
so
Do not watch number 3. Got it.
Number 3, they go overseas, and it's not worth it.
It's no Return to the King, is what you're saying.
Correct. It doesn't
Okay.
hold anything up to Return of the King. Not.
Good to know.
I mean, he does take a
It's
shirt off, so you know.
more like Battle of Five Armies. That's what you're saying.
Anyway, so my number 5.
Good to
Real
know.
pitch perfect arc on that one. Starts off strong
Yep.
and then yeah.
I just nosedived right into the asphalt after when 3 started. Oh, okay, moving on. Number 5. Also, total. Most of you probably don't care. Maybe Zane. Maybe a little bit of Robbie. How CM Punk handled his business with AEW this year, just gave me a sour taste for that guy as a person, and
I've lost all respect for CM Punk. I used to like him. I don't respect him at all anymore.
And granted, maybe we don't know everything that happened in the background, but just how it was on the internet and what was publicized, it's like, okay, this dude literally is trying to get fired and being able to just jump ship right away. Anyways, my number 4 is Funko trashing $30 million in product earlier this year. I thought was wild.
I forgot about that.
Here's your tax write-off. We're just going to trash all this content versus trying to sell it really cheap. I just don't know how you still don't make a profit from that, even if you sold it extremely cheap in bulk. My number 3 is the Flash movie being released, and we don't get the Batgirl movie, which was probably more polished. Super upset with these old DC, decisions on that. My number 2 is that Titan sub accident. This is more of a grander scheme of things where we were just told by the media that, oh, we're still searching for them, and it comes out like a few weeks later. It's like, nope, yeah, the Navy knew it blew up like the day it happened, but we had other stuff we had to cover up. So there it is.
I love that that's on Mark's list. Are we surprised by that?
This is an incredible list,
true.
Mark.
It's
This list
real.
is incredible.
It's a real thing that happened. They literally like for 3 days were like, hopefully there's enough air for Titan, and then like after all this settled down, like, oh yeah, the Navy knew this thing blew up and everyone was dead the day it happened. Anyways, moving on. My number one thing, I'm sure all of you know what it is. I literally lost my rental service of Netflix DVD. Netflix decided to pull the plug on that. They apparently don't care about us as consumers. Now, I don't see any new movies as frequently as I used to. So my, top movie thing is going to probably suck in 2024. I'm sorry ahead of time. So my number one is Netflix removing their DVD rentals.
I love that there's war in the Middle East. There's big WWE news, like a massive thing that happened, and dude's like,
Okay.
Netflix, stop giving me DVDs.
And did you hear about Netflix?
So funny you said that, Jared, about all the wars happening. So I went to Wikipedia to see events in 2023. I'm like, holy crap! There is so much war across our world.
Had a good year.
Why the hell are we even doing stuff like this? But here we are.
Bro's like,
literally,
Netflix, stop
literally had a moment of like, oh, what am I doing in my life? There's no point because of all the crap that's happening in the world. So thanks for letting me relive that, Jared. Yes, DVDs I can't get from Netflix anymore. Top priority in my life. So that's what I'm doing.
What about Best Buy not going to be holding fusical media anymore? Is that on your list?
Well, go collect your physical media. Well, so far it's only
that's
Best
2024, and that's 2024.
Yeah, that's 2024.
Hey, come on, Robbie.
Was
Wait
that
till next
was
month.
that announced in 2024 or announced in 2023?
Well, and did you hear about
been
PS4
cutting it
or
close. happening.
PlayStation taking off like 1,300 different video games that even if you bought it, you won't get a refund for it. They're just taking it off.
Or you still have a PS4, so none of us heard about that because we all have PS4.
It's PlayStation.
Okay.
PlayStation Network. So go get your physical media, everybody. Eventually, I'll be gone.
As I sit here with
All
my
right, there's
digital PS5.
And when I
Right,
do buy my PS5,
same.
It's kind of gross.
All right, Robbie, since you
go to
already
me.
suggested something, what's your Bob Kane's 2020?
I don't have a specific list. I guess I just threw a bunch of things on here. I actually didn't have that many. But number one, not in any specific order, is Mark's PS4. Mark, get a PS5. It's 2024.
If you five all put in $100, you got me the PS5.
You could sell one of your Lord of the Rings collector booster boxes and go get a PS5.
My gosh.
They're unsealed.
I'm just saying.
selling one of those. Those will be like $10,000 in like 3 years.
What a guy.
The most just nerdy, unhinged conversation I've ever. They're unsealed.
He wants.
I get it.
No,
I want them.
Mark,
I do
you
want
don't
them.
need to get up. We're good. We believe you. We believe you, buddy.
to sell both of these.
Yeah.
So go get
You can donate them to the drip.
Yeah.
To the drip, my
to
guy.
the drip.
To the drip. All right, continuing. Oh, okay. Whatever. Pretty much everything DC did this year, besides the good news.
Amen.
So all the movies that DC did this year. So Aquaman, didn't see it, but it's probably bad. Shazam wasn't very good. Didn't even see it. I'll wait for it on HBO Max. The Flash was about as mid as you can get. Just wasted an opportunity to have our boy Michael Keaton in the Batman suit again. So yeah, screw those. Wasn't happy about that. R.I.P. to Jonathan Majors' career. No one else in entertainment had a higher peak and then a sharper drop off than Jonathan Majors this year. Guy started the year with Kang, or with Ant-Man and the Wasp, which, shocker, that didn't make it onto anyone's top 6 list. And Quantumania, whatever. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania, whatever. And Creed 3, which was also very good, and then just dropped off the face of the earth because of not doing good things.
Movie, right?
What's that?
I think he had a war movie too. Oh, anyway, that doesn't matter. But yeah,
He did. It was wasn't that the Red Tails?
the pilot.
Was it Red Tails?
Yeah.
He also
you
had.
had another war movie 2 years ago that was him as a pilot.
He had a Western as well.
or something.
He had a
That came
Western?
out this year.
I mean, he's an amazing actor, but yeah, he's like he's gonna be not in anything for.
No, he's done forever probably.
Unless other stuff comes out that's like, oh okay, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Let's see. Fast X. They just keep making Fast and the Furious movies.
You watch your mouth. You watch your mouth.
I want them
You
to
watch
stop.
your mouth, Robbie. You watch
I
your
want them to
mouth.
stop really bad.
That doesn't need a Bob Kane. Fast X doesn't need a Bob Kane. The cliffhanger was great.
Fast X is terrible.
What's gonna happen? Is Vin Diesel gonna die? He could die, Robbie. He might not be in the 11th one.
The dude picked up a door frame and used it as a Captain America shield.
Oh, Robbie, we don't know that he's alive. The 11th movie, who knows?
Look at me. I hope he's dead.
Is he in the astral plane?
Who's dead? They're not.
We don't know. We don't know what happened to him, Robbie. We need to find out. We need to know.
Truthfully, I feel like you can't get more over the top than if they're like, yeah, he's in the astral plane now.
Yeah,
And now
that's probably where he
Paul
is.
Walker's back.
Yeah.
Family.
Christmas.
Yeah, Fast X. They just keep making those movies. That makes me sad every time a new one comes out. Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon is a Zack Snyder film that aired on Netflix, and they put a lot of money into, and it was about as mid as you could imagine. I think the best explanation is the one I gave Jarrett the other day. It's like the laziest D&D campaign, with a Star Wars skin. It has so much promise, and you're so excited when it starts, and then it's just not good. And then it's not even, it's a part 1, so we have to wait for another part to even like finish the story. It's just mid, and it makes me sad. So Rebel Moon, that's on my list. Let's see. I think I only have one more thing. Oh yeah, Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher. The Witcher not being on any of my lists was really, really sad. The season wasn't terrible, but you can definitely tell it was mailed in. Henry Cavill wasn't given as much fun to go with, or fun to work with. So Henry Cavill's last season as The Witcher, which Witcher is one of my all-time favorite things as well, makes me really bummed. So that's my list.
Yeah, you're right, Jared. I'm glad we went with these now, because all these things are just bumming me out now that we're going through them. Moving on.
Told you, Doc. I told you.
All right, Jarrett, you're up. What do you got?
Okay, number 6, and thank goodness since I wrote this list, this has changed, but waiting for Shadow of the Erdtree, which, if you guys don't know, is the Elden Ring DLC. They teased us for so long about this coming, and they're like, we'll know by you'll know before the holiday season, then they push it back. Then they're like, you'll know by this, you'll know by this. We are eventually getting it in June of this year, but it should not have taken this long to hear news about it. Number 5, and this is one that I doubt would be on anyone else's list, but in the Marvel comics, and this is not nothing new, but they killed a character, happens all the time, but they killed specifically Miss Marvel so that they could bring her back as a mutant, which makes no sense to me.
Brutal.
And I think they are so afraid of having her be dissimilar from her MCU counterpart, which that TV show was a train wreck. Why is that the template? Like, she was so amazing in the comics. That whole thing was a hot mess. Number 4 is everything to do with Ezra Miller and The Flash. How did this movie still get made? How did Batwoman get canned? Nothing about The Flash makes sense to me. Like, this dude is an absolute menace to society, and they're like, you know what? He deserves his time in the sun. Makes no sense. Number 3 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which ties into number 2, which is, you guys have talked about it, Jonathan Majors' absolutely abysmal behavior as a human being, tanking his career at its height. I don't know what this dude was thinking, that he just decided to be a garbage human being, trash his relationship, and jeopardize his future in Hollywood. Makes no sense to me. And number 1...
I got to interject here really quick, because I just thought of this with Ezra Miller and Jonathan Majors. How does Ezra Miller still get to do movies and do what he did?
Because he's white.
But then compared, I was getting there. But like compared to what Jonathan Majors did, not saying either one's justified.
Good. Yeah,
doing what Ezra Miller did, and Jonathan Majors is just getting swiped under the away.
That's Ezra Miller groomed and people.
Dude's like kidnapping kids and like going off his rocker. and he's still in stuff.
Sorry to
That
interject,
just,
but that's just wild.
right.
You're
how
100%
there's
right.
such a,
And I'll go a step further too with it. I think I have a different angle and approach on that. Is I think Jonathan Majors' situation was handled so swiftly because they watched how Ezra Miller's situation was handled. So that's my only like rebuttal to that, Mark. I understand the argument you're making, but I think
That's good.
I think Marvel was like, we are not even going to begin to open that can of worms because it did hurt the Flash.
Ezra Miller was in a Marvel role that he would have been canned immediately, as opposed to
I don't know.
WB
I don't know.
and DC in the hot mess that they were in at the time and rebooting everything. Like, I
still
know.
think Jonathan Majors is more valuable.
I think it was partially because they were already like $200 million invested into this. Right. Like if Jonathan Majors had another movie coming out, like already filmed another movie coming out. Yeah. Like there's no way they're canning him right
Avengers
there.
movie King Dynasty.
But that's not Major's
And they
Dynasty.
filmed
Like they haven't filmed it yet. If they would have filmed it already, I guarantee that he would not have been fired.
I think
how do you do that?
My only pushback on that is the Quantumania post-credit scene. If Marvel doesn't do that, you're absolutely right. It's easier to get rid of him. But
It's
Marvel
easy.
essentially established
They've already done it.
Kang
They've done it before.
Every King is Majors. And they can rewrite it, but like I don't know. I think they both were correlated more than we give them credit for. I think Marvel was kind of fighting the sins of DC there a little bit.
I think you're onto something, because if you look at James Gunn and how unjustifiably they jumped down his throat right away.
Oh yeah.
And did like take swift and decisive
action. Oh yeah.
I think you're onto something actually, Max. For sure.
Right.
My number one, Bob Kane, is just war. Just everything that's going on. Like, just, as Mark said, just broadly gesture to the world at large right now.
over there.
War's bad.
Yeah, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
Rough. See, we can't. This is why we can't annul this.
This is why you're totally right. All right, who we got left? Max.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm just gonna preface this. I'm not gonna say war. I think that's just kind of universally understood. I'm glad other people have it on their list, but I went pretty much.
Wait, so you're endorsing war, Max?
Wow. I'm not endorsing war, but I am endorsing Mark getting a PS5 with Robbie.
This guy's okay with war. This guy right up there.
This guy's
on my screen, at least.
Pro-war guy. All right. I think I'll go quickly. Across the Spider-Verse not getting Best Film nomination. I think that's a travesty. I said it earlier. It's on my list. I think for the quantity of work those artists did, they deserved a nod. They don't have to win it. I get why they're not winning it, but give them a nomination. Let them be nominated. They're better than majority of the films that are being showcased on that list anyway. DC's downfall. Robbie went into this in detail. The only thing I would maybe add on to what Robbie would say on this is I've held a firm belief that DC has the capabilities of being better than Marvel. While I'm excited for James Gunn, I just don't know. And I have a hard time trusting DC.
But you also don't know what you don't know.
I don't know what I don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Kelly just texted me. The DC producers also kept Amber Heard in the movies, and she's a shitty person.
But also, again, filmed before.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that her role is so small in Aquaman 2 but I haven't seen the movie, so like I can't.
I love that none of us watched this enough to like.
Do you realize that movie? That movie was I don't know if this is 100% correct. I'd have to check my sources, but it was one of the. I believe it was at least top 3 highest grossing comic book movies of the year. Like it made almost $500,000. Yeah,
people in
like or half a billion dollars.
Sorry, is weird like that though, because like Venom made like 800 million globally.
Yeah, overseas they love those movies.
Yeah.
I don't know
for some reason.
Yeah, it made $433 million.
That's bonkers. That's
so double. It's
it made more than the Marvels.
Yeah,
I want to. We've said it a couple times, but I want to draw special attention to Ant-Man Quantumania. Peyton Reed, I will never forgive you for this movie. I'm devastated. This movie was supposed to be the turning point. Jonathan Majors, he's my number 2. I'll just combine them. I think if Marvel fails, Jonathan Majors deserves a whole chapter in the book of why Marvel fails. I think he is so important to this whole thing. I can't fathom, like, it's what makes Loki so special is this whole situation. They did not have to do the post-credit scene the way they did, and they did. And I just, at the time, I was like, whoa, this is going to be crazy. And now I'm just like, what a dumb move by Marvel. What a just stupid decision. Secret Invasion was awful. Secret Invasion, what on earth? Like,
It started so strong though. I loved the beginning of Secret Invasion.
I don't
You don't
know.
like the beginning of it?
I forgot
think
that was
we
even
thought
a
it
show.
We thought it was.
Zane didn't even watch
It was-
it. So.
I loved the idea of it, man.
No,
I
I
really
watched
did.
it. I completely just blipped it out of my mind. I was like, it's so bad.
Here's why I think Robbie, in hindsight now, I don't think the beginning was strong. This was Maria Hill's opportunity to finally get moments, to finally get her like, she's been so pushed to the back, and she's such an important character in the comics. And for her just to be essentially killed right out the gate, while gutsy as it was, in hindsight, was just a terrible decision by Marvel. And I really, Secret Invasion is such a flop. And then to watch Marvels and to see Nick Fury go from that tone to the tone he is in Marvels, as much as I love Marvels, he's the weakest part of the movie by far. And Secret Invasion should have been so much better. That final episode is trash, just trash.
What do you mean? We now have the strongest character in the MCU.
It's unacceptable. It was an unacceptable decision, and it's ridiculous. Finally, is Ted Lasso. I firmly disagree with every take that's been said positively about Ted Lasso. I think the final season is abysmal. I do think the final couple episodes were stronger than the previous rest of the season, but they had to nail it and they didn't. And I think they made some really, really weird choices that were unjustified and just I don't understand. Ted Lasso is brutal. I will always remember only season 1 and season 2. I will always intentionally omit season 3 from my brain.
I don't think it's that bad.
That's fine. This is my list, Robbie. You got to talk about.
I don't agree with your list.
You talked about Fast X, and
and
I'm
you
gonna
threw
talk
out
about a
Christopher
really
Nolan.
you talked about a good project. I'm going to talk about a bad
And you're
project.
attacking Ted Lasso.
Robbie's
You're darn
Fast
right,
X
I will.
is Max's Ted Lasso season 3.
My magnum opus.
Well, which one did Christopher Nolan like more? I just would like to know.
Somebody should ask him about Ted Lasso season 3.
Gosh, if Christopher Nolan
That's a good
says Ted
question.
Lasso season 3 is bad, that's
Could you imagine?
It's Jover for Robbie.
It's Jover.
Rip.
Oh gosh. All right. Who we got left? Me and Zane. I'll go. We'll make Zane be the last one.
Before you go, Isaac or Zane, I'm going to start this giveaway.
Go for it.
So it's going to be this Wraith from Jinkmat's playmat for any card game you might be playing. These are awesome, super good quality from Jinkmat's. They make really good stuff. But if you jump in the giveaway, I'm going to put it on the drip stream. Make sure you jump in here, get this thing, and I'll be sending it out shortly. Yeah. So I don't have much more plug to
Free stuff,
give you
guys. Free stuff. Link in the chat. So, there you go.
Link in the bio.
Link in bio.
Link in the bio.
Yeah. I don't even think I have 6 full things here. WB in general, especially with the Batwoman and Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner situations. That one is dragged more into 2024, but like they're just trashing these movies for tax exemptions.
Dude, Isaac,
And
that is such a good.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you brought that up
like
because
unacceptable.
I forgot about that.
Nobody's gonna see Batwoman. Like it may never see the light of day. Hopefully, it does get leaked sometime on the internet somewhere, so we can like watch it and decide for ourselves if it was worth it. Like they spent $75 million making Batwoman, and then they're just gonna trash it for a tax write-off. Like that is bonkers and unacceptable to me. And Zaslav. That guy,
yeah, David Zaslav.
Yeah, David Zaslav he's running a business and he's not doing it for the consumer, and that's really, really disappointing. And actually, this is
for the dollar. Oh.
Shocker, right? Actually, this is a 2024 thing, but just recently he said that he thinks WB has the best storytelling of any company out there, and it's like. Yeah, well, you're not letting them see the light of day, so.
Does he just say like WB or like Warner Brothers Discovery? Because I mean, if it's Warner Brothers Discovery, he's got the whole Guy Fieri like line of stuff. So like, I get it.
That makes sense, but I don't know exactly what he's been saying, but
so what I'm hearing from Isaac specifically, and you could quote him on this, is eat the rich, Marxism is the way of the future, seize the means of production.
Yes, quoted.
That's what I heard. Is that not what you guys heard?
That's what I heard. He's wearing a Che Guevara shirt right now.
That's what I heard
on good authority that he has a USSR flag in his house. Good authority.
Who'd you hear that from? Where's your sources, Mark?
Myself. Me. Trust me.
The man hates democracy.
It's me. Hi.
That's
I'm
not
the
true. I spread democracy on a semi-regular basis, Zane. So there. All right, moving on. Where was I? WB, dumb. So I've been on this Nicolas Cage watch, right? Started last year after watching. Actually, this was like probably end of 2022 that I watched Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And I realized I have not watched nearly enough Nicolas Cage movies. So as of right now, I've watched over 40 of his movies. I think he's credited with like 109 on IMDb. The worst one that I watched last year, and Robbie, I've talked to this many times with Robbie, is Outcast. It's a movie that he stars with Hayden Christensen.
It looks so good it looks so good. It
honestly doesn't look that bad on the poster, but some of the worst video editing that I've ever seen in a professional movie. Like, it was hard to watch because of all the cuts and like jarring cinematography. And Hayden Christensen, like, guys, I love him as Anakin Skywalker, but he's just not a good actor. Like, he's just not good. He's terrible in this movie.
Have you seen Jumper? Please tell me you've seen Jumper.
Oh yeah, I love.
Okay,
I loved Jumper in high school, man. I loved that movie.
That movie rocks. He kills it in that movie.
That movie's so much fun.
Maybe he is a good actor, and he just takes the worst roles possible. Because that movie was the absolute worst movie that I watched last year. And actually, one movie, Nicolas Cage movie that I watched this year is worse, but that was the worst one that I watched last year. It is actually, that would be a fun one to watch as the Infinity Bros to hate watch, because it is hilarious. Nicolas Cage has an awful accent in it the whole time that he's just like yelling. So yeah, it's a funny one to watch, but awful movie. So that was one of my Bob Kane's. Rebel Moon was also on there for me, Robbie. With all of the hype that built this movie up, it just did not live up to it.
Dude, they had entire end caps at Walmart dedicated to Rebel Moon.
I know, and part of that was Zack Snyder. Like, the Snyderverse people have all been like, oh, he's been wronged, blah blah blah, like this is now his thing. If that's his thing, then like, I don't know, dude, like, I don't know if that's what you want to cap your career on, you know? So the second part comes out in April, so I don't know if that can make it any better. It was like semi-enjoyable as an action sci-fi, but like just very disappointing. And speaking of disappointing, Secret Invasion was maybe the most disappointing project that Marvel has ever put out. Like, there's been bad movies, and I don't think Secret Invasion is among the worst projects Marvel has ever put out. But disappointing-wise, it probably is the most disappointing, because the potential that they had with Skrulls in the MCU was just wasted completely. We had a
total fumble
watch on the Infinity
total
Bros
fumble
podcast.
From Captain Marvel.
Just
total fumble.
Completely fumbled the bag, and man, they had Secret Invasion could have been this phase of the MCU. Like, that's how big it could have been. But they just completely wasted that show and that IP.
I'll add on to that too, Isaac. I think they should have done that instead of the whole Kang thing. I think they should have let the Kang thing marinate a little more.
Right.
And then all these lower level heroes they're bringing back with like Daredevil, it totally matters for those guys.
Yeah.
Probably more than any other hero.
Yeah, and I mentioned this when I was on with Jarrett in the last episode. Secret Invasion is a top 3 comic book storyline of all time. Like, it's so good. And the fact that they tried to make this just absolutely pathetic adaptation of that storyline just adds to the disappointment of it being the, most disappointing MCU
In all
project.
fairness, they didn't kill all the Skrulls. The invasion probably just started.
No, I'm with you, Mark. I think it's still there. I'm just like,
right,
imagine if
they're never coming back to this again. They're never going to come back to the Skrulls.
Imagine if Echo ends and the final scene, instead of what they did at the end, I won't spoil that because it's still relatively new, but if they end with like one of her, like forgive me, the guy's name, the guy that drove the truck.
Biscuit?
Yeah, Biscuit was revealed that he's just been he's just kind of a goofball the whole one, but you find out he's like doing intel. That changes kind of a little tone there. And I think every show, if they had done that, Shang-Chi, I think you could have really done this with all these shows, and just a bummer.
Biggest disappointment.
Not a surprise at all with Rhodey either. Everybody called it.
Yeah.
I brought this up when we talked. It might have been when we talked about Hawkeye, but it would have been great if, and I think that's the only way you make this weird transition from Hawkeye to Echo work, is if like Kingpin was a Skrull, right? Like, how else does he survive getting shot in the eye?
Ooh, that's good, Jared. That's
we never got
that.
that.
Right. Instead, he's just apparently a metahuman
Immortal.
that can survive getting shot in the eye and only have minor scarring from it. So,
what a joke!
He's a big guy. He's a big hit.
Dude can survive getting shot in the eye, but he can't survive reliving his childhood trauma. That's
Bingo. Thank you.
There it is.
You know what?
Got him.
Mental illness is no joke, Zane.
Yeah, Zane. We're going to joke about mental illness on the podcast? That's crazy.
What did you do to me? What did you do to me?
And mental illness.
That's just wrong.
What did you do to me? I'm going to leave now.
And my biggest one was Jonathan Majors. We've already talked about that, so I don't have to rehash that.
Who? What happened with Jonathan Majors? I forget.
I don't know if you heard, but apparently he's not
Amber Heard. No,
guy.
He was part of the Amber Heard thing.
Amber Heard? No, I didn't say anything about that. Zane.
No Dookies on
Okay, I'm actually surprised that no one has put that Amber Heard Johnny Depp documentary on any of their list yet. Maybe it's on somebody's. Maybe someone
really
likes
really good. You wanted it to be on.
I don't know.
Like top.
We
top
got
list?
Zane still.
We do have Zane still.
Right,
Zane could put it on his
hear it.
list.
It's not on there.
Dang it.
My number one Bob Kane is Robbie Sauter. And that's my list.
That's fair.
I'm just
Okay.
kidding. Yeah.
All right.
Good list.
No,
Let's head on over to the gems.
So my list, I can hit these real quick. The Coyote versus Acme, the fact that just got completely scrapped. No one's going to see. I mean, even for the very least, put it out there. Let people put that on their resume. Be like, hey,
Max.
here's the work I put on it. Yeah. Put it on Max. You have a streaming service for it.
And, okay, so this, sorry, interrupt, but, like, I just heard last week that somebody, another, like, company offered them $40 million for it, which the tax exemption they're going to get is $30 million. And they still refused it. Like, so now they're literally just, it's not even about the money anymore. Now they're just like, I don't even know what the business side of this is. I don't understand it. I don't know. Anyways, continues it. Sorry.
Yeah, just dumb. But following that, Henry Cavill no longer being Geralt, and then even just the fact that he kind of got, like, I understand James Gunn going another direction, but like he's the best Superman, and the fact that we never even got Man of Steel 2, or I feel like there was so much wasted that Cavill's kind of been off to the side, and you're just like, no, this is a man who loves these roles, loves these nerdy things, but yet for whatever reason everyone's just like, we'll go another direction, and big mistake.
Okay, but to be fair, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be getting a 40K series headed by.
This is true.
Pablo.
I mean, that's true.
We all know so much about 40K.
That's the saving grace. But even still, like, was the best part of The Witcher. He was the best part of The Witcher, and we're not going to have that. And so that interest is way down for. And again, it's not to default Liam. Is it Liam Hemsworth? Whoever they brought in. Yeah. It could be good, but I just don't see.
It won't be the same.
Right. It won't be the same. I also have the Titan submersible. The fact that they knew it 5 days before, and then we're just like,
you did not have that on your list before. Mark
I legitimately have it on the list.
You and Mark are just the same guy. Good for you.
Well, great minds think alike.
They're both
I also
thinking men, Max. They're both thinking men.
I also have the fact that E3 is no longer a thing. It is completely shut down. Like that was a
Reach.
lot of like I get it where direction of things going, but like that was such a huge thing to see what people were gonna introduce at E3, and that's no longer a thing. Another big one, then the final big one I have is the whole drama that happened with the game the day before. I don't know if you guys followed any of this stuff that happened.
I heard about that. It's wild.
Nope.
So it was supposed to be like this survival, like MMO. They had all these promises. It was first announced in like 2021, and basically the game launched and was completely taken down in the span of a month. Like the joke was like they did the quickest speed run of getting their game completely deleted from the internet. But so they basically made all these promises. Game comes out and it's all just like generic stuff you could get on just regular game making software. There was no creative anything put into it. So they basically then just took everyone's pre-orders, gave money, shut down the company, and then started a new company. Like it's wild. Just like look up the story of this game. It is unbelievable that
What's
that
it called
happened.
again? The
Day
night?
before.
The day before.
The day before.
The day before.
Just go look up the story behind this game, and it is bonkers. And yeah,
Crazy stuff.
that's my list.
All right, Robbie, you got anything for us on the drip front?
Just to make sure, if you do enter the drip giveaway, you have to be present to win this. Right now, there's only 3 people that have their participation in on the playmat, but there are 10 or 11 people watching in stream. So make sure if you jump in there and you want this playmat, you have to enter the giveaway, and then in 16 minutes and 45 seconds, you have to be in the drip stream to win it. Just
Matt
so
has
everyone
some
is
very
aware.
valuable input. He said, "I can hear Robbie breathing weirdly on that link." So
That's because he's hearing through this little mic, which is right by my face. So
there you go. If you want to hear Robbie breathe weirdly, go to the drip stream, enter a giveaway. You could win a sweet playmat.
Say no more.
from
Say
Jank
no
Mats.
more.
Also,
From
Jank
Jank
Mats said that they will send out a fresh new playmat to whoever wins this. They just messaged me that. So
Ooh.
there you
That's
go.
Spicy.
Oh, there we go. And that's good stuff. Jank Mats puts out some really sweet playmats. So
Yeah.
good stuff. So make sure you guys
Get
click
in on
link
that giveaway, guys.
in the chat and get in on that. We've got one category left, guys, and then that concludes our 2023 StanLee Awards. So last one. Thank you, Jarrett, for that suggestion. I feel like that really lightens up our podcast episode here. We're gonna end it off with our Infinity Gems, which is the best things about 2023, minus movies and TV shows, which we already ranked. But hey, games, comics. What else have we had on the show before? We used to have a comic list, like every year as well, but everything's just thrown into that one. I think we've had life events on there even before. So, whatever. Anything that happens. All right, guys.
Whatever, dog.
Let's see. Zane, you were the last one to go. So why don't you be the first one to go with your Infinity Gems of 2023?
All right, so basically, because I'm the only one who plays enough of the video games, my entire list is video games. So
Oh,
Just
good for you.
preface that.
for you.
It's like you don't
Congrats,
have
Zane. That's
kids.
big for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Robbie, this is why you're my Bob Kane.
Fair.
All right.
I'm happy for you, Zane.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Number 6 for me was Starfield. It's a fun game to jump into. Like if you like kind of like Fallout and Skyrim in space, that's really what it was. Yeah, I enjoyed the time I put into it, and I'll eventually need to circle back to it. But yeah, it's a fun game and everything you can do, and the different worlds and the fun universe to get lost in.
Sweet. That's it.
That was,
We're doing the whole list here.
You're going down the
whole
whole
Oh, we're doing the whole. Oh, I thought we were going
Yeah,
back.
Just go.
Okay.
Just go.
Okay.
Oh,
So I'd start
jeez.
This is
Starfield.
the first time on the episode, guys. Gotta give him a
Starfield
chance.
2023.
Give him a chance.
That's my whole list, guys. Starfield.
Well, Starfield was good. You guys are going to play video
I'm new
games.
here.
Screw it.
I'm new here, okay? So from Starfield, then I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, super fun game. If that ever goes on like PS Plus, that'd be a great one to stand in that we had from Friday the 13th. Super fun one to get into. Number 4 for me was Atomic Heart. That one didn't pick up as much as maybe other people thought it would, but I had a lot of fun with that one just because kind of a 60s futuristic style first-person shooter. Number 3 was a game that I heard very few people talking about. It's called Exoprimal, and that's basically combines like Overwatch with so exosuits and you're fighting dinosaurs. So kind of a cool premise.
This one? That
sounds amazing. Well, it's only right now. I think it's only on. Was it on Game Pass? I don't know if it's on PlayStation or not. But super fun. Like it does get repetitive in that it doesn't have a campaign. So the campaign is set through the multiplayer. So like it'll be like you do 10 matches of multiplayer, then you'll get a cutscene, and then you do 5 matches of multiplayer. So it works the campaign into the multiplayer in a really unique way. So I really like that game. And yeah, you're getting mobbed by 500 velociraptors. So you're just it was fun for the amount of time until you beat the game. It was super fun. Number 2 for me, Spider-Man 2. Again, just followed everything we had from Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Just incredibly fun. Like it's what I wanted from Spider-Man 2. Excited to see where that franchise goes. And then number 1 for me is Jedi Survivor. Nice. I know I'd mentioned before that how Spider-Man does its best, like kind of makes you feel like you're Spider-Man. Jedi Survivor does the closest it gets to feeling like you're a Jedi in a video game. So Jedi Survivor for me is the number 1 Infinity Gem, or even just the number 1 my favorite game I played in 2023.
There you go. Yeah, that's good stuff. I actually have a few of those on my list, so I'm going to just go ahead and go next here. I have a few video games, and one that you didn't mention, Zane, that I don't even know if you've played or not, but I've got Hogwarts Legacy on here. That was really fun. Finally got around to beating the storyline on that one. And if you guys are Harry Potter fans, like that's one that you need to play. It's really fun. So you dive into the like lore of that Harry Potter like universe, and the books are great, the movies are great and everything, but honestly, in and of itself, it's not a hugely deep universe like with the original books and stuff. I'm sure there's secondary stuff and fan stuff and blah blah, all that stuff, but like the lore that it adds to that universe is really cool. So definitely worth checking out. I thought it was really fun and something that you can get lost in and immersed in. My number, I don't even have 6 things on here. My number 3 is my Nicolas Cage watch. Like I said before, watched like 40 Nicolas Cage movies last year. Some good, some bad, and a lot in between. A lot of them are just like I think almost 20 of them that I watch are probably 3 out of 6s. Like they're just fine. Not awful watches, but also not something that I want to put another 2 hours of my life to. So,
Isaac, were you the one that talked about how he does all these movies because he went like bankrupt? Or what was that story? Because I always forget.
In the early, I think it was late 2000s, he like went bankrupt and basically just started accepting every role that he could to kind of claw his way out of debt. And he was in, from like late 2000s to now, he's in an average of like 5 movies per year. Like he is just going nuts on the acting career lately, and some of them are like solid. Like last year he came out with Sympathy for the Devil was really good. Dream Scenario was his most recent one. That one was pretty solid, and that A24 and Nicolas Cage is a match made in heaven. Like he should do more with them. Best movie I watched last year of Nicolas Cage's was, let me pull up my letterboxd here of all the ones. Literally have a letterbox of 40 plus movies that I've ranked.
No one else has that.
Maybe not. I don't know. I should look it up.
I don't think anyone
see if anybody else has one. So, I mean, I rewatched a few that I already had watched, but my favorite one that I watched for the first time was Raising Arizona. That was a really fun one. It was a classic.
That's a good
Nick
one.
Cage movie. So that was the favorite one that I didn't rewatch last year. But that was a fun journey to be on. Still, I decided that I'm just keep plugging away. Just gonna watch every single Nicolas Cage movie out there. 109 credits on IMDb, so we'll see how far we get. And then my last two are video games that Zane already mentioned. Jedi Survivor, fantastic. I still am hoping to platinum that, but I haven't gotten there yet. It's a massive game. I was surprised at the scale, just because the first one was a relatively easy platinum, so I didn't have to work that hard for it. I feel like there's just more planets, more space to cover in this one, but it, like Zane said, you feel like a Jedi. It's a phenomenal Star Wars story, so definitely a must play for Star Wars fans. And then my number one was obviously Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Oh man, it was such a good game. I still debate in my mind if I like it better than the first one or not, but the fact that Venom was one of the main antagonists in this, and Kraven, oh my gosh, it was so stinking good. Like, Spider-Man lore wise, I loved it. So it's hard to say if it's. I think the first one has a better story, but I loved the second one just as much as the first one. So there you go. Those are my Infinity Gems. Marvel Spider-Man 2, my number one. And backwards order, I think we're at Jarrett.
Okay, I'm gonna start out with. Gosh, there's so many things that happened this year. I'm gonna go with Demon Souls, which is not new to me. I mean, it's not new, but it is new to me. Demon Souls got a remaster. If you don't know, this is the series, one of the series that came before Dark Souls. It got made by a different studio for this, and is a PS5 exclusive. It is really fun and in like a really unbalanced way. It's not a well polished game, and I think that's kind of the fun of like going back to janky releases before we got like modern AAA polished games. And it is like the thing that started the Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne phenomenon. Number 5 for me was all of the exclusively mutant sets that were released for Marvel Champions this year. Huge X-Men fan, and Marvel Champions does a fantastic job with their designs. We got Cable this year, which is one of my favorite characters, and he plays phenomenally on the table. Number 4 is again something that's not new this year, but it is new to me. I finally got around to reading the comic book Do a Power Bomb, which I believe is illustrated by a Minnesota local. Is that right, Isaac?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know he was at Twin Cities Con when Mark and I went there.
So he did a phenomenal job with this. This is like one of my favorite comic books of all time. Stands alone by itself. And the illustrator from that also went on to do a Wonder Woman series this year that is like post-apocalyptic and is phenomenal. Number 3 is Lego Fortnite. This one really caught me off guard, and
Nice.
when
Lego
my
Fortnite was a good
PlayStation-
time.
yeah,
That was a good time.
when my PlayStation decides it doesn't want to absolutely eat itself from the inside out, this is a fun one to hop on, and just it gives me really like Minecrafty vibes, which I really enjoyed. I'm excited to see what else they do with it, because we know Epic never stops with whatever they're doing. Number 2 was a D&D release. It's Keys from the Golden Vault. This is a campaign series that runs through a series of like heists, kind of Mission Impossible style, and the combination of like running Mission Impossible heists and D&D is phenomenal. I've been trying to run this with my students at my school. Has not gone well because they're all murder hobos, but I thought this was a phenomenal release. Yeah, it's not easy to say like, hey students, I need you to go steal this thing from this place, when their answer isn't like, let's sneak in and steal the loot. Nobody can spy on us or catch us in the act if they're all dead. So yeah, that's been kind of wild.
Oh, gosh.
Number 1 for me, and I'm sure this is a big one for a lot of fans of both of these franchises, is some of the Universes Beyond stuff that we got for Magic. Lord of the Rings in particular was an absolute phenomenal hit. This is a series that I've not bought a lot of, Robbie's obviously showing it off on Drip Stream right now. I was not. I'm purposely like keeping myself away from the set because if I start buying it, I will not stop buying it. So I don't have a lot of product from this, but it is a phenomenal set.
Nice. There you go.
You bought some for me, so that's fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Robbie,
That's
on
your-
my screen, you pointed at Max, and I was
Oh, I was trying to put it on my screen. Put it
Max,
in
get
mine.
in on this.
I don't know where Mark is on your guys' screens.
Phenomenal.
Is that it then for your Infinity Gems?
That's it. That's my 6.
Nice work. All right, Rob A. What you got
Perfect
for your
timing because
Infinity
we
Gems?
have 3 minutes left on the giveaway. So if you haven't gotten
Left.
in on the giveaway,
On that, I will throw the.
there is only 4 people entered right now. I believe you have to follow us on Drip, and then I believe you have I know some people don't like this, but I believe you have to put in your billing information because it does charge no matter what for the shipping. So that's something I can't really control. That's just what Drip does. You just have to pay for the shipping. There's only 4 people in right now. You have a couple minutes left, so get those in there.
Get
A lot of people in the stream, but not a lot of people in on the giveaway yet. Yeah, so let's go. Jarrett, I'm surprised that you got to meet the command cast.
That was pretty cool. I should have had that on my list.
Bro met some of his heroes and didn't put it on his list.
Facts.
All right. All right. Because Jarrett said it and I forgot. Lego Fortnite. Lego Fortnite is awesome. Barbenheimer. We kind of talked about it at the front end, but that entire 2-week experience for Barbenheimer was so much fun. That was the only time in what feels like since Infinity War that every time we went to the movie theater, it was packed. At least my movie theater, it's the only time here in my town where the movie theater was packed every single time I went.
Dude,
or even when I drove by, it was always packed.
We talked about this on the podcast too because I didn't see it until a week and a half after it opened, and it was packed. There was people getting turned away because they didn't pre-buy their tickets a week and a half after it opened. That's
right.
wild for a non-Marvel or superhero movie these days. That's pretty nuts.
It was huge. So yeah,
Crazy time.
the Barbenheimer thing was awesome, and that's what movies are supposed to be. It's crazy. You have to make good movies to get people to actually go to the movie theater. Wild how that works.
Shocker.
Right. And then MagicCon Minneapolis, going there with Jarrett was awesome. Only got to go for a day, but that was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed that. And that kind of sparked this whole getting into Magic even more. Just seeing that kind of sparked everything else. Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is the one shining. It's not a big light, but the one shining light for DC this entire year is Blue Beetle. That movie is actually pretty decent. I hope everyone checked it out. It's on HBO Max. The giveaway is going to go in 30 seconds. NW Fisherman, I don't see your participation thing on there. Sorry, Isaac, you're going to have to probably edit this. 25 seconds left on the giveaway. Okay. And then Invincible, the first half of Invincible. I didn't put that on the list because it's obviously finishing and it'll probably be a 2024 nominee for best shows. But Invincible first half was awesome. Everything we expected it to be. And then Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering, which I have on screen right now. Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering. If MagicCon reinvigorated my love for Magic, this send it to a whole other level because this set was beautiful and easily my favorite set of all time. And Scrappy Graph, perfect timing. Scrappy Graph in the Drip stream has won the giveaway. Scrappy, I am in connection with Jank Mats. They will send you a new mat, a brand new one of these Lord of the Rings Wraith mats. Congratulations, Scrappy. Appreciate you hanging out and winning that mat. Appreciate you, bud.
Way to go.
All right.
Any more Infinity Gems?
And then the last one, this is technically 2024. But we got an update here. Let's go to our source. Mark in the group chat sent this meme, or not a meme, this informative graph, some might say. Vin Diesel has confirmed Fast X Part 2 will be the last Fast and Furious movie.
Can't wait.
Let's go. Big claps.
Can't wait.
Let's
it's gonna
go.
be big. It's gonna be
Let's
really
go.
big. Can't wait.
It's finally over. It's finally over.
Oh, I love that.
There we go.
That's your
Family
So
never,
happy.
Family never dies. You can't cancel family, Robbie. It's not
Yeah, it's
possible.
a family.
Can't turn your back on family.
So glad it's gone. So glad it's done forever.
Looking forward to it.
Well, speaking of Fast X Part 2, Max, what are your Infinity Gems from 2020?
Barbenheimer, Robbie already said. Everything Everywhere All at Once, winning, like just dominating the Oscars was so great.
That was fun.
I thought they were going to do a little worse than they did, and they just kicked the crap out of everybody, and that was awesome. I loved it. From season 2 was just so amazing this year. I just loved it, and I just wanted to make sure I gave it one more shout out. Watching Michigan win a championship was wild, and watching my son try to stay up to watch the whole thing and fall asleep was hilarious. Across the Spider-Verse, Loki, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, What If, Marvel's, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, and X-Men reveals. They just did a great job of. They knew that Madam Web had come out, and they knew that Madam Web was trash, and they just made sure they took care of that problem by saying, "Don't worry, Fantastic Four are these people. The Bears are killing it right now, and so we're gonna go ahead and make sure that you know that the guy from the Bears in it." The Deadpool trailer is great. Deadpool looks awesome. I've always been low on Deadpool, and this is the most excited I've ever been for a Deadpool movie. And X-Men 97 looks absolutely tremendous.
Gosh, yeah.
Marvel's so funny. I do think Marvel is still okay. I do think they're okay.
Back, baby. We're back.
I'm not willing to say they're back, but it's a gem that I have way more hope at this juncture than I did last year at this time.
One of my favorite memes.
Do you think
is
Kevin Feige is waiting for Max to say that? Kevin Feige is listening with bated breath, going, "If Max believes in us, then we've got this."
Yeah.
My
It's
favorite
totally
Marvel
me.
meme
No question.
nowadays is the one where it's the meme guy where it's "We're back," and then Marvel's dead. We're back. Marvel's dead, and each
That's
project goes back and forth.
That's literally me.
Basically, Max.
Yeah. So no, I'm excited about all that. I think for me the last thing I wrote was just the growth of this network. I know that the streaming stuff maybe not be as big, but I know Robbie's just done a really great job with Magic the Gathering. And explored different avenues with that. I think James Gunn tweeting us was a really cool thing that I highlighted. That I was that was really cool.
Awesome.
I forgot that happened this year. Yeah, James.
Yeah,
Gunn.
that did. That was really cool,
was.
and just really, really looking forward to the future of this network. I know that I've had to take a back seat with more stuff just because of some personal shiftings in my job, but super proud of what is happening here and just believe in it. And so looking forward to being more of a fan from afar. But those are my gems this year.
Aw, thanks, Max.
Those are some good ones. Good ones. All right. Somehow we're ending the 2023 StanLees with Mark's Infinity Gems, and I can't wait to see what is on this list. Go ahead, Mark.
My 2020, it's not going to be shocking, I guess, for Infinity Gems from 2023. Here's my order. The Pokemon Obsidian Flames drop. Really fan of those cards and the packs and all the content that came with it. Comic book series What If Dark. Got really into that this year, or in 2023. Back to Pokemon, the 151 drop and all the content with that. Just, brought you back nostalgia. That was a nostalgia drop for me. I was like, hell yeah, all in. Marvel Snap was really big for me this year. I know that dropped at I think the end of 22, but that is just, that game has, if any video game I've been playing constantly, it's that. So that's a daily. My number 2 is the Crayola experience at the Mall of America. I went there a few weeks ago with our mutual friends, Joey and Jenna, and then with my beautiful wife Kelly and my daughter Maggie. Really fun.
Facts. That's
experience.
Awesome.
Mall of
the
America,
Crayola experience is phenomenal.
They do pronounce, some the cool folks call it MOA because they use the lowercase o of in their abbreviation for it. And then my number 1 is Magic the Gathering, the Lord of the Rings stuff. That got me all in.
Number 1.
So
he's all in.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it many times, but we've
He's all
basically
in.
are pivoting to a Magic the Gathering podcast at this point. So here we go.
You say that so
I say that because I also got into Magic more than I ever expected to this year. Because
you bought some packs for once.
I still I enjoy playing the game, but I get intimidated because there's so much in the game.
There's so much, and there's just more coming.
Yeah, it never stops.
Fallout's coming for us.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you there, Mark. Cool, sweet. Thanks, Mark, for ending the 2023 StanLee Awards. Recap again here. Our 2023 movie StanLee Award goes to Across the Spider-Verse by far. And we have a tie for our TV show of 2023 with Loki and The Last of Us. So some pretty awesome things going on in 2023, but looking forward to 2024. Looking forward to our 200th episode. It didn't line up for us to do our 200th episode for the StanLees this year, so I was kind of hoping we could just keep going like on the 50 episode marks every single year, but that's okay. This will be 190. We got 10 more episodes to go to hit 200, and that'll be right around, honestly, that might happen right around our 5-year anniversary. So we might have to do another live stream.
That'd be pretty sick, yeah.
That will be pretty cool. A lot of fun things to look forward to in the Infinity Bros universe. We would love to connect with you guys. You can join us on our Discord, chat with us there, or on all of our socials that are currently streaming right now. I do still have one giveaway to do, so one last chance here. If you want an Infinity Bros baseball cap, all you have to do is type in chat what song you would use to serenade Zane, Infinity Bros Zane. He would love to be serenaded, I'm sure. So tell me.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, tell us.
Will we be singing to him live for the 200th episode?
Ooh.
We could just do that now. Haven't we all practice?
I mean, it depends on what song they suggest, I guess.
Hopefully it's if this Ice Spice. She's probably a singer, right? Everyone's doing singing. Does she sing?
Why are we still on this?
Brilliant.
I don't know, because I got attacked for asking who Ice Spice was. So I'm not letting it go.
Oh gosh. So
that's where we're at.
If you want to get in on that, make sure you type that in chat. Yeah, I mean, if you want to connect with us, please join us on socials, on Discord. You can check out theinfinitybros.com for all of our links. You can listen to our podcast episodes there. You can check out the Daily Snap for occasional article drops. And now you can check out Robbie live on Drip selling magic packs quite often.
Whip. I for sure 2 times a week. But that'll probably ramp up come summertime. But for sure Mondays and either Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Beautiful. You get to see Robbie's beautiful face all over.
Or just my hands.
And yeah, I mean, we're doing this restream thing. Drip also has a restream type capability, so we'll be live on socials quite often. We're gonna get the Twitch thing going for sure, man. It's gonna be some good stuff. So make sure you stay tuned. And once again, thank you all so much for supporting us. Patrons, thank you so much for being such a great support for us as well. If you want patron exclusive content, you can also check out our Patreon link. That'll be in the show notes as well, but you can go to theinfinitybros.com for that link as well, where you can get exclusive access to unedited episodes of the Infinity Bros podcast. Scott Higa's favorite thing is to listen to unedited episodes of the Infinity Bros podcast. So make sure you guys check that out and like I said, I mean, I've got some other stuff that I've left on read, like the off-topic gamers old episodes. Maybe I'll dig through some of those and get those going on the Patreon as well. So lots of content coming at you from the Infinity Bros. Thank you all so much for joining us. It has been a blast. Love you guys 3000. Bye.
Bye.
I gotta pull up the ending here somewhere. There it is.
That was the worst bye of all time.
Yeah, it didn't flow.
Late.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at the Infinity Bros. You can also check out our website at theinfinitybros.com for links, reviews, and sweet merch. Feel free to send listener feedback via social media or email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.